Bring us in. You don't want to wrangle us in. Oh my God.
You want me to bring this in? This is your job.
Never mind. My job.
That's right.
Fair enough. Hi, everybody.
I'm your cohort.
But you're the guy who, all right, he spearheaded this whole expedition back a month or so ago. But we're here back, ready for Sock Talk podcast number 3.
Episode 3.
Episode 3.
You motherfuckers are listening.
Well, yeah. John, let's give your 2 cents as to what do you think happened in between recording this and last time, and like what are your feelings about the release of episode 2?
I liked episode 2 a lot. It was fun. We talked, we had a female counter voice, which was
girl.
Nice. Yeah. Talked a lot about sex. And I want to apologize if I sound like I got fucking 2 fat fingers stuck up my nose, but my adorable little niece, who's a little over a year old, the other day decided to sneeze in my face.
Oh, was that how you got it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying you were going to give it back to her.
My sister's like, hey, you should come over and hang out for dinner. And like, I was like, aren't you guys all sick? She's like, yeah, but we're getting over it. And my niece is climbing all over me. She sneezes in my face, and here I am 2 days later fucking snorting out fucking green goo out of my nostrils. It's awesome. So tonight when I go to babysitter, I'm going to kick her right in the belly.
Yeah.
I really won't. But
well, no, I'll do it for you, but that's how I do these things. No, yeah, that's kind of weird. I thought you said you were going to go there and give her, like, as a joke, like, incidentally.
Well, I do like to give her smallpox blankets, things of that nature. But,
well, to be fair, she won't have shingles when she grows up.
Hopefully.
Well, the percentage is very low, what I'm told.
I'm kind of pissed at myself, though, because, like, I legitimately have not had a cold in 3 years. It's been 3 years since I've even had a cold.
You had to have some sort of low-grade fever at one point or something.
No, nothing. No? I've been perfectly healthy for 3 years, and then like, my niece, like, a little 1-year-old infant can sneeze on me and just cause my body to collapse. I hate it so much. I'm so pissed at my body right now.
Your immune system is like some sort of Jenga or some sort of...
One key block, it's all over.
Yeah. And we got to...
Yeah, stop being rude and introduce our guests.
We got a buddy of mine from New York hanging out with us today, Jarrett Muccis.
What's up?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure, and I've enjoyed both Sock Talks already. I've listened to both of them, and I laughed out loud on the bus on the way up here. So.
Yeah, we did not tell him to say it, but we did encourage him.
I am not handing him a $100 bill right now.
No, yeah, that is monopoly.
Greasing my palm.
Yeah. But no, actually, it's pretty awesome because we had a bunch of people who've been. I know I kind of stay away from it. To kind of tout, like, yeah, we're doing okay, we're doing all right.
Yeah, you never want to blow up your own spot too much.
Well, I mean, just that, but it's a fucking podcast with a bunch of nerds finger banging each other, just like, let's talk about video games again. I thought about, like, when, like, podcast 8 will be like, what the fuck am I going to say this week? Like, what is
we don't want to look at each other. You disgust me.
But luckily we have enough where we can all just talk about both, casual bullshit and just, like, I don't want to liken it to, like, trying to like fuck the audience in a way that we're trying to get in coitus with the audience in some way. We're just kind of like we're trying to woo them, I guess I should say. Stick away from stick away from all that. But no, I mean it's tough because you're trying to get in the pants of the audience. I can't get away from them. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. But no, you have to get them listening and reacting to it. And what was your you actually had a couple of lines I actually really liked from last time that you really liked.
Oh my God. I was sitting on the bus on the way up from New York, and John had mentioned internet porn becoming boring, and more or less the fact that he had to fluff himself in between fucking clicking back and forth until he found something. And even then it was like, even though it's mediocre, I've been punching my clown for like 30 minutes, so I'm just gonna let it go.
Sometimes it's worse than mediocre.
Is that the term you use, punching your clown?
No, that's a better term.
I like that a lot.
I don't know where I got it.
But it's like that clown that like inflatable clown going back and forth, like flaccid enough. Am I being too descriptive about a clown penis?
I don't think you're being descriptive enough.
Exactly. Elaborate, please.
Yeah. I have like 25 graphs I could show.
Get a pie chart of flaccidness.
This is where the bicycle horn noise comes
the Venn diagram, what types of porn create this sort of flaccidness. And then you have to factor in the full moon.
But basically, yeah, like I was saying, it just I burst out laughing sitting next to like an 85, like an octogenarian. I was like, oh, sorry, man, and my headphones were loud enough, so I'm sure she heard every last word of it. So it was great.
I'm gonna go home and masturbate just to make sure. That's cool. That was pretty funny, and he actually mentioned that on Facebook, which John has been telling me. He wants to make a Facebook page, and if
and we will try to make these available to you folks on iTunes. We're going to look into that, so that way you can just throw it on your portable MP3 player of your choice.
Oh, fancy!
Ooh.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah. Our MP3 player.
These will be on Laserdisc.
Yeah,
but make it a little easier so you can check them out on the go, and you don't have to necessarily sit at your computer for 2 hours and listen to them. But
it's not. I mean, it's not horrible. Like Jarrett was saying about on your phone if you want to listen to it, like on YouTube or whatever. And sometimes when we post it, like new videos don't become readily available mobily. But we've actually had some luck with people doing mobile, checking things out on their phone or whatever device. So I think that's been pretty cool. Well, yeah, I guess enough about like what we like about what we've been doing. What about shitting on ourselves now to equal it out? What was it? Listen, because I had to listen to the episode like 2 or 3 times in order to edit. We don't necessarily edit things out, but I actually last time I had to cut something because we were worried again that something didn't record, and within you probably will be able to pick it out within the episode, but I think I did it good enough so you don't actually notice it.
I didn't even notice it.
But it was and once again it dealt with Final Cut, but which if you're ever recording voiceover, remember you can't go out of this is now we're going to do some software teaching. You can't go out of the software. You thought I was joking. You can't go out of the software if you're recording voiceover stuff in Final Cut. You got to stay within it.
This brings up all right.
Go ahead.
Segue into this then. Let's talk about Apple products for a fucking second.
Ooh, don't you love it?
I fucking hate Apple products.
Speaking of which, we are brought to you by Apple Computers.
We are currently recording this on a MacBook Pro.
You know you're gonna have a subpoena on your door in like 10 minutes because you said Apple on the air.
I will wholeheartedly stand by the iPod as a great device. It's fantastic. I have an iPod. I love my iPod. But everybody else that gets all up in arms about Apple, it's just weird. There's this weird defensive mechanism that people will have automatically if they have an iPhone or something. I just bought a fancy phone, my first fancy phone, and I got a nice Android Galaxy S2. Thing is the best thing on the planet, and does everything. Does Flash, and then someone just be like, "Oh, that thing sucks." I'd be like, "Really?"
I don't understand that.
Check out this website on your fancy iPhone. Oh, you can't. That's right, because iPhone does not support Flash.
And they're trying to kill it.
Yeah, and you're losing, 75% of the internet because of that? It's a pretty good amount of the internet.
And what they do, with YouTube, you're not watching YouTube, based clips, and that's why mobile video, or that's why videos or stuff you put up right away. If I put it up today, it might not be mobile ready or mobile ready. I don't know if you're a Brit or whatnot. But, it's because it has to pretty much go through the program of it's a whole nother app. It's not necessarily going online and going on YouTube per se.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the weirdness of it. But I think they've actually taken care of that as well with YouTube. But yeah, I have an iPhone. As you can see, I'm not.
Jay, you have an iPhone too, right?
I have the Verizon one, but as you can see the screen, that happened the first week. My wife got it for me in October, the end of October for my birthday, early, which will be Steph's birthday. I shouldn't have said her name. On the 23rd of this month, happy birthday. She's gonna hate it. And she kind of listens to the podcast. It's 2 hours. I listen to you all day.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine her listening to this and just cringing, just be like,
Yeah, I mean that's more her style. Just not to kind of cringe at what I say.
I would say, just to touch on the Apple issue, the one thing I will say that it has, they have longevity. My wife had the Apple the iPhone 3 for 3 years, and it still worked, and it still did great. It's a great, well-made product. I'll say that.
Be that as it may, I still think that if you're gonna try to blow up your spot and charge that much money for something, that it should do everything. And like you said, they're trying to kill Flash, and that bothers me because that affects me as my business. Flash is one of the best programs ever created.
Yeah,
it's very versatile.
Oh, all right, okay.
No, you can do anything. There. You can make cartoons, video games. You can do anything.
Animation, websites.
Yeah, it's a beautiful program, and it's very interactive and
you changed my mind.
Yeah. But Apple wants to come out with. They must have some sort of patent on HTML5 because they're trying to push HTML5, and I mean I'll learn it because it's a new. I have to keep up with that stuff.
That's the thing. I think not to cut off too crazily, but I do think I think you have an issue with it. I think everyone does initially, especially in our type of business, like in either multimedia, video, whatever. You have to keep up with just pretty much.
It's not the keeping up. I don't mind learning a program if it's.
Yeah.
I think it's a step backwards though. Like why? Like I've seen some samples of.
HTML5 is pretty decent.
I've seen samples of what people do with it though. It's like. It's not even half as good.
Yeah, that Arcade Fire video was pretty amazing. Like the interactive browser. It was just
particle effects like going around all over the place. Like,
yeah, I mean it's like interactive browser stuff that just within it's pretty cool. I mean that's pretty nice.
I don't know. I'm not sold on it.
I mean I've never seen anything with Flash do that. I mean maybe I haven't looked hard enough, but I just haven't. And I'm not saying fuck Flash, but I'm saying give that a motion too. But I do agree, like weird I mean.
You're gonna put out a product like that costs like $800, and you're gonna have people waiting around corners for it, and it doesn't do what my phone does. And you're trying to be like, oh, it's the way of the future. It's like, but it's not the way of the present, or because it's currently, I want to see Flash. It's in 99% of all web-based applications.
And to reiterate, echo what you're saying, this is the 4S I have. No, but the whole thing, it's kind of awesome because it's a dual processor, and it's ridiculous. But
mine has that too, but I can also go to anything.
No, but it's
look
also
at anything I want.
There was a great article before because I was like reading up because I had a BlackBerry Storm, which I actually did love, and it was very durable because with phones and most stuff I'm just kind of sometimes like a Slippery Sam or just some sort of Clouseau-esque type of guy with, and just things would just fall out of my hands.
Yeah.
And it took a beating like a mother, but it still worked.
Yeah.
And one of the articles was like, oh yeah, Galaxy, which Apple tried to stop, mind you. They tried to, with their tablets and everything else, and tried to halt. And the whole rumor, or the whole hypothesis from a couple people, or hypotheses, I should say, from a couple people, were that they were in patent court or in court trying to halt production on stuff because they didn't have something as.
It's so weird that you're going to spend that much. Yeah, you're going to spend that much money trying to destroy a product that's actually better than yours.
That's business.
Yeah, but it's funny because like it's a better product. Like anything, like the Samsung tablets are supposed to be leaps and bounds better than the iPads, and it's like even the people that have them. I know people that have iPads and stuff like that, and they fucking. There's no reason for these people to have them because it's like, what the hell do you use it for?
It's totally consumer based.
It really is. It's just a fucking jerk off piece for yourself to have. It's like, I have an iPad. It's like, yeah, good for you. I have a
brand
fucking
loyalty. You know? And Steve Jobs founded his organization on brand loyalty.
But
that's a good point.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see that many people that will just blindly buy a product, not knowing its capabilities or its shortcomings. And like, I'm glad I waited as long as I did to get a phone because it was like I spent time looking at what it could do, and I like being able to look at 100% of what the internet has to offer and like just on the go. And it's like, you try. I've sent links to a few friends and it's like, oh, I can't open it. What is that? It's like, oh, that's right. Yeah. What's up with your fucking iPhone? Go fuck yourself.
But, I feel the same way. I wish it did accept Flash because there's stuff that like.
And they could easily make it so that it's Flash compatible.
This probably it's profit driven. They probably invested a shit ton of R&D into that HTML5. Well, they're probably like, you know what? We can't go to Flash. We dumped way too much capital into this. We gotta force this on the populace, or at least our market share.
Well, it's also I mean, it definitely is. Because it's Adobe. It's Adobe Flash and Adobe Premiere. Adobe. I mean, it's in total.
It's weird to see two giants going at it too, because Adobe is the best in the industry as far as multimedia goes. And I use Adobe all the time. It's just. If you're a professional, you use the Adobe suite. That's what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Premiere, but I would.
Well, maybe not for film.
But they do.
Final Cut's usually good for
video.
Film.
I mean, film is just kind of like, it's almost like a misnomer at this point because like no one really shoots on film anymore. There's a great documentary actually by Keanu Reeves coming out. Yeah, weird, huh?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I made a film, and it's about a great. I was talking to my friend Vache at. Oh God, he's gonna hate me because I immediately forgot about what the website name is. Oh God, lonelyreviewer.com. That's it. Sorry, Vache. Who we'll have on at one point. But he I'll send him the link to it. But it's a great documentary about how all these great filmmakers like David Lynch, Martin Scorsese, Steven Soderbergh, and all these other greats and cinematographers like the switch over from film to digital. How dead is it? And I actually was in there going to school for it. Where it just kind of was at the cusp of film leaving, and which is awesome and good. But we know how to shoot on film. We've shot on film, and we've done a whole bunch of stuff. But getting back to Adobe is great, and they're in complete competition with Mac. And there's weird kind of
it's
crazy.
such a weird, like, I'm practical when it comes to technology, because like I like my technology to do.
I just love. I'm sorry. I laugh because I just love the shift. It's like John's like. I like the hate mode, and then it goes from "Hey, I'm your uncle," and then just hanging around the fire.
Let me tell you how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Come I'll tell you a story.
I think brand loyalty is one thing. Like I like certain products, and I'll stick by them if I think they're good. But at the same time, I'm not going to just blindly buy something because I think it's what I'm supposed to do. Like as far as like MacBooks go, I know you like your MacBooks and stuff, but I would much rather have a PC that's going to cost me half the amount and can do an infinite amount more, like as far as the specs.
I mean, it all depends what you do and what you landed. But yeah, I do agree. I mean, like interchangeable parts. That's the thing about a PC. That's great.
And the fact that like I can get the laptop I'm looking to buy is like $1,700. It's got like 12 gigs of RAM. It's got a 3 gigabyte graphics card. You know what I mean?
That's
it's
nuts,
and the MacBook, no MacBook has that. So it's like, why would I bother?
No, currently, I mean, you could try to put a couple. I don't know if they make 8 gig 6 of RAM. You can put in something, but no, I mean, there's stuff. Yeah, that is definitely a thing.
And it's just like it's a fact. It's a fact, and that's the thing about like most Apple people. They just don't want to hear it. It's like whatever. It's like no, not whatever. This is real. I'm really presenting an actual fact to you.
Yeah, I worked at the Apple store at one point. I did work for them and the company.
Yeah,
and I just kind of like, oh, all right. And it's like I had to answer a lot of questions. Be like. And be honest, well, I was honest. I mean, just kind of like, and that's tough. But people respond to that, though. To be fair, people do respond to your honesty, and either, like you said, they don't listen. Either be it, we were talking about brand loyalty before, or just they in fact like, listen, I just want to get this. This isn't the part of my life I care about. Yeah. And that's something you got to think about too. Yeah. Like we might get up in arms, but this is where we live. You know what I mean? This is where we reside. For our jobs and everything.
I think it's also kind of I would even say Apple has almost a status type affiliated with it, because like
I think it does. Yeah.
I go into Grand Central every single day, and I see a lot of different people that go in and out of Manhattan, and you see these, I hate to say it, slick back haired douchey types with the iPhone.
Yeah, don't say.
And the Bluetooth, and they're just like that quintessential douchebag that you see like an 80s movie, and, and there's an Apple store in Grand Central, like up on one of the balconies.
That's kind of weird.
And you just see the line, and you look at the people in line, and you're just like, you're a fucking tool bag. And like you just want to like get out of there as fast as possible. Yeah. Not down. I mean, I have an Apple iPhone too, so I guess I'm part of that.
Well, you can get that online group, too. That's the
but
thing.
It's not like you present like, I've never heard either of you just be like, make it out like it's like some sort of superior product, and it's like, well, I'm better because I have this. It's like, but like I can't stand like.
Well, I'm stubborn pretty much because I've learned. Oh, I know how to use both systems, I guess, but I know.
Yeah, I was never a fan of the Mac system. I learned both myself, and I was I don't understand the appeal. It's not as powerful, and it's more convoluted. I don't think
user interface. I can see the appeal.
Yeah, it's just a preference thing, I guess. Like a lot of people, some people love the Mac interface. I never really did.
Yeah, I mean, hardware based. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like keep talking about. It's like interchangeable parts. It's like if you actually are a technician, you can solder like the motherboard and do some stuff. Like you can add stuff in, but it's more interchangeable with various PCs. But yeah, and this actually. What was it? One of the side conversations I found and like buried in what we were all chatting about with that, like with like wars between tablets and whatever, and Mac and whatever, Samsung, like wars between user interface or like social media programs or like Facebook, Google Plus, and even Xbox Live. You can make the argument because they change when one changes their interface, the other changes their interface. It's a weird detente of like
it really
you draw this line in the digital sand.
Yeah, it's a domino effect.
I gave up once the Google Plus thing came out. Like I was getting invites like, oh, join me on Google Plus. All these friend invites on Google Plus. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I don't need another fucking Facebook.
Times suck.
Yeah, it's not as much of a big difference. I mean, I guess there are some things you can do, but
are you on it?
Yeah, I've had it. I haven't really. It's like I haven't really paid as much attention, I guess, that I should. But I mean, and that's I think we talked about it last time with Colleen, like or maybe the first time. Either way, we had. I think it was on the second show. You might remember. We talked about social media being how it evolved into a job, or like how realistically it should be like that lackey intern, but it could be something, and just like I guess making. Like you can create jobs. That's a great thing about this economy. You can create them if people like are willing to. Like if you have to. It's like you have to have 3 jobs. You have to have 1 to maintain the job, make sure it's still there. 2 to actually work it, and 3 to kind of keep evolving with it, or just kind of slap people away.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest tools mankind has produced, I think, personally.
The
internet itself.
Media,
Well, the internet itself, but on top of it, even social media, it's like it is such like a wonderful tool. You can anything you can think of. You can find jobs, you can communicate, you can create a business off of it. I mean, there's just so many aspects of it that.
There's also the spiritual app, which you can use.
Oh, which I need.
You can go to.
Keeps me in check. Keeps my Zen aligned.
Get your Zen.
You get your Zen bubble pop up. Yeah, exactly.
No, but yeah, no, that's a great point. I don't know. It's one of those things where everything's at your fingertips, and then just see what you do with it.
I still like you mentioned, Xbox Live. I think I don't know. I might be biased, but I love what they've like how it is and how they have the avatar and you can see that your friends are watching whatever and the like I thought even though Netflix is one of the I've read an article one of the top 10 hated companies in the United States.
Why are they the most hated?
Because they changed the price hike that was like 60-70% or something.
But you could I switched over to all streaming because that's what I do. I don't get the physical media. But go on. I'm sorry,
I did the same. I cut out cable entirely and I just use Netflix and Xbox.
I wish I could cut out cable.
And it cost me $17 a month and I can watch whatever. But
I haven't watched TV in like a year and a half.
Yeah, I'm
I don't watch TV.
I don't watch any TV.
Steph watches a lot of stuff, and you got to respect that. But yeah,
but it's what I was saying was Xbox Live. Like, even when I watch Netflix, it's like you can invite a friend to watch a movie with you, and then you put the headphones on, and you're like, let's say you're watching Leprechaun 5. John, in New Hampshire, and I'm in New York City. And I'm like, oh my God, you fucking see that? So it's a great medium to keep friends connected that are living like across the United States. That's how I talk to my family in Tokyo. I talk to them through Facebook. I don't utilize email. I don't call them. Facebook. That's the way I think you can do.
They're starting to do video conferencing with Facebook.
Yeah.
And Google, you can actually do video conferencing for
free.
free.
Yeah, my phone's got like a front camera, so I can get Skype, and I can have it's like one of the features on my phone is like I can actually have video calls with somebody.
Yeah. Skype is free between two people.
I was like,
and FaceTime.
It's cool
with Apple.
It's the same.
Yeah,
it was very funny because like, oh, what about Skype? Well, FaceTime. It's like, oh yeah, all right.
We're there too. We're in that too. Buy a product, we do that also.
That was because I think BlackBerry had that market on it because I had it on my torch. Jesus, this whole fucking show has turned into a Best Buy commercial. No. Well, yeah, tech talk.
I'm kind of curious. There's a lot of good tech coming out. Like we're all tech nerds. I mean, when you get down to it,
we can talk about
Mech talk.
Yeah,
I would happily
nearly
have
to
a
the
Mech.
height of you guys, but I like this stuff.
I don't know.
It's been a little. It's kind of like it was weird. I got really into tech for a while, and then things kind of just
TED Tech.
It's kind of like TED Tech. TED Tech.
Yeah.
It's like
a Korean fella down the street.
Things kind of stay where they are for a while. Like now, it's just your tech kind of.
Well, it's because they're trying to get as much money as possible,
right?
R&D.
And if you're a smart consumer, you kind of notice that things are kind of staying the same right now. There's been kind of a
they
hold. I
mean, they don't have their most illuminating stuff. They hold it back, and they just kind of
until they extrapolate every ounce of profit.
And you put an S on it, and fucking people go bananas for it. It's just ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
There you go.
But
they want to make as much money as possible because they've already. I'm sure Steve Jobs probably had the iPhone 8. But they'll roll out the 3.5 or the 4.5, then the 5 will come out 2 years later, and they just keep gaining as much profit as they can.
And then we have mech, or we have grafted, which I think I've said a couple times on this show, but I just want a fucking metal jaw. That's all I want.
That would be sweet.
I just want a mech jaw.
I would happily have a mech suit. A mech suit would be cool too.
Dude, like you watch some of the I watch some of those documentaries on Netflix where it talks about military fucking technology. They have the Predator suit. They have the suit
they do,
that is invisible. It's like it's just at a whole new level now. It's just like and you really mean to tell me I mean this is going way too
let's do it.
But you mean to tell me let's say government leaders let's say Saddam Hussein or anybody that we feel is a threat like the Libyans and all that stuff. You mean to tell me you can't just get one guy and give him that suit? Go in there and take him out.
Yeah.
But it's just weird that with our technology, the more advanced our technology goes as far as stuff like that goes, it's basically its only purpose is to be used to kill. Like, it's never really used to create or to make anything better. It's like, oh, we have an invisibility suit. What can you do with that?
Let's just turn to My Dinner with
Pull
Andre.
pants down or stab somebody.
It's only used for assassination.
Yeah, we use that to kill things.
Well, unless you're Bugs Bunny in the 50s and you try to kill Castro with an exploding cigar. Which is pretty much what happened. They tried to kill him with one of the ways was an exploding cigar.
I did hear about that, actually.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's like a Three Stooges game.
Yeah, it really
an assassination attempt.
Yeah. Get him.
Three Stooges, the new movie coming out. What do you think?
Uh-oh. What do you mean what I think? What do you want me to say?
What's
What
your
are you giving me? You're
Farrelly
goading
Brothers,
me.
right?
Yeah, Fairley Brothers.
Yeah, I don't...
The guy who plays Mo and the guy who plays Kurt, they're all dead on. Like,
Yeah,
I think their
impersonations are
impersonation is
fantastic.
dead on. And I think if you let yourself just enjoy it, I think you'd enjoy it.
Sure.
But at the same time,
I
you
know.
know, there's nothing like the original. There's nothing like it.
And it would have been freaking fantastic and ridiculous if it was Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, and Jim Carrey.
Oh, that's right.
Jim
the
Carrey
original
wanted
cast
to be Curly,
Really?
and Benicio del Toro was going to be Larry. I think.
No, but he was supposed to be Mo.
Oh, he was supposed to be Mo,
Yeah.
yeah. And Sean Penn was supposed to be Larry. How crazy would have been?
That would have been weird.
Yeah, exactly. But that,
Yeah.
but because like, all right, like you say, like, I mean, okay, so we just have a carbon copy of what the Three Stooges are. Okay, why don't I just rent or watch Three Stooges?
Right.
But if you have this crazy kind of like hyper realistic kind of like, you ever see the like Simpsons or Family Guy characters done up in real like Photoshop, like if they were real.
Oh,
human
yeah, it's
beings.
really creepy.
Yes,
Yeah.
and like there's an added level of just like where the fuck am I? Like, reality is warped in a weird like yeah, I think that would have been nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I hear what I mean. If you just let yourself go and just relax, just like with anything else. I mean, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Take it
There
in.
were some parts that made me laugh, even on the trailer. Like,
The part where he hits him with the head with a hammer.
yeah, I was like, oh, I feel it coming on. And then like when Mo punches like or pokes Snooki in the eyes, he's like, hey Snook, I got a gift. It's like, like freaking 2 eyes, you know.
Oh, was that her too? Was that
Yeah.
really? Oh, well,
She's pretty iconic at this point.
she's made it.
God.
Yeah. Well, what are you
Calf.
gonna do? What?
More calf than gold.
Oh God. That's
I really hope nobody can hear me mouth breathing into this thing right now.
Well, I mean, what do you yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I hope it's. I don't know. I don't give a shit. I really like
don't
with
care
comedy,
either. Yeah, I want to see it just to see what the fuck is going on, because it's like you see these dead-on impersonations, but like the rest of the
looks
stuff
really
that's going on in the
boring.
trailer doesn't make any sense. It's like they're like orphans, but is it the 30s or is it
No.
now? Like, what happened? What's going on?
yeah.
It's definitely a bit confusing.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be like a series of skits, just like the show, where it's like they're delivering an ice cube at the top of the stairs, and he shows up, and it's like this big by the time he gets
It
to
was
the top.
fucking awesome,
You're
dude.
gonna have best plumbers that ever plumbed the plum and make himself into a fucking copper cage, you know.
I watched that shit. My dad used to make me watch that show all the time when I was a kid.
Tie
It was
you
the
up and
best.
put-
Hey, watch this. And he hit me with a head with a hammer.
Like, oh, it really
Slap me.
hurts.
Dude, you watch it now, and it still makes me.
Oh,
laugh.
it's hilarious.
It makes me laugh out loud,
Yeah.
like just at the ridiculousness of all of it.
Like, Mo was just such a. All he would do is like slap. He would. Oh, that's the thing. He slapped people. It was never funny
Now,
to see anybody
in
get
the
slapped.
show, were they brothers? I always know they just were.
They were. Who was it? The whole Howard Fine and Howard thing. I think it was.
Yeah, I know they weren't actually brothers, but I mean, like
So they were related though.
in the show. Yeah, Mo and Curly and Shep.
Yeah,
They're all
They're
related.
cousins or something.
In real
Shep
life
was a
though
cousin.
too.
Like I think Curly and Mo were brothers.
Yeah.
I was gonna say brother and sister. That would have been weird. But
Three Stooges talk. That's what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, we're gonna resort back.
But yeah, I know Larry Fine was a. Oh, there was a great Billy West has a great Larry joke. Oh yeah,
Billy
it's
West from
Is
Ren
that dude
and
from
Stimpy?
Futurama?
Yes.
Oh,
from
man.
Futurama, because he was obviously he's a big Stooges fan, and there's actually another to plug a great podcast or a video podcast, the Kevin Pollak podcast,
I've seen some of that. It's
which
pretty
I would
good.
recommend, and
Kevin
the
Pollak, really?
Larry King game is really amazing. But Billy West and Joe DiMaggio from Bender, Joe DiMaggio, and Billy West, who does like 85 different voices on that show.
Yeah.
He gets paid for one. Talked about a Larry joke when he was in Boston. He was like looking kind of a little pudgy, and then what was it? He
That's
was at a
mucus,
bar.
people. Enjoy it.
Mucus, yeah, take it in. He was at a bar, and people were like, "Oh, you look a little pudgy." Before he takes like a shot of whiskey, he goes, "Oh, fuck it off," and just like just kind of maybe not as virulent as I kind of made it out, but just kind of like in his Larry way, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have sex to take off the weight." But it's just kind of like that seems like the Stooges were a bunch of drunk, like
They like smoke
crazy.
like a pack a day or a pack an hour. Like
Yeah.
you watch any interviews with them, they're just like puffing away.
Damn. Well, they got to be up like
They had a
18
good
hours
run,
a day to shoot like all that stuff.
Yeah. And my favorite scenes are like when they like throw a dummy over the wall. And
Yes,
dude,
dude, a dummy is one of the most underrated things like
yeah.
used in movies. Like every time I see a movie that has a dummy used in it, it just makes me happy. Like in Orgasmo, the part where G Fresh is getting smashed into the glass, and it's like so clearly a dummy.
Yeah,
it's the best.
It's like. Like you said, it's an underused prop, I guess you would say, or item in movies.
I think the fact that you know it's like a dummy and it looks so silly with like it's just arms flailing about and just
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
yes,
Yeah, or a naked gun.
What is it? Chinese Connection when he's like swinging that sensei around Bruce Lee.
That's
like,
right.
It's apparently like a dummy stuff. It's like a nylon dummy stuffed with cotton.
That's awesome.
Just swinging it around.
They got a new Bruce Lee documentary coming out.
Yeah.
You seen anything for that?
No.
It looks okay, but like I know you're a big Bruce Lee fan.
Yeah.
So was Jonah.
Yes, I am as well. I keep forgetting there's no one to look at what we're doing.
No.
But yeah, I know Jarrett and I are both big Bruce Lee fans, and this one, it looks, there's only so much you can say about the guy. That he died very young, but he was a bad motherfucker, and like
for being like 5'8", he beat the bag out of
was
like
like
6'4" guys.
He was so like on top of his
Abdul-Jabbar.
game. Yeah, he learned like fencing. Anything that had anything to do with fighting, he would learn just to like adapt it and make it his own. He was
Violent taxidermy. Definitely.
Like what was that movie with Brandon Scott Lee, The Dragon?
Yeah, The Dragon.
Yeah. It came out in like the 90s.
Yeah, like 94,
bad.
95.
Yeah, it was pretty decent.
Yeah.
I thought it was like well done.
Yeah,
This
the
one looks
score's
okay.
amazing for it.
This one looks more about like the guest list they have on it though, because it's like the first thing it starts off with is an interview with Dana White, which is cool because Dana White's a head of the UFC, which is he's a dude who knows something about fighting.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to like Mickey Rourke. It's like, wait a minute, what's Mickey Rourke gonna talk about? Yeah, I got a lot of plastic surgery.
Your face looks like a snare drum.
Oh wait, one
terrible.
of the wires came off. Hold on. Tie him off.
Oh, speaking of Mickey Rourke, he will be in Expendables 2, which is going to be PG fucking 13. I just
What was
heard.
the first one?
Rated R. It was such a hard R too.
Because Chuck
No, I
Norris
haven't.
is like a Bible thumper, despite his like actual awesomeness.
Well, despite the fact that he was in fucking movies like Hitman and Delta Force, who were all rated R and super bloody.
Yeah, I don't know if
I think he found
A
Christ.
crisis of conscience when you get
I don't
older.
think it's him necessarily, but I mean, when you make a movie like that for less
No,
money,
it is
I mean,
about him. Like
Is
it was in his
about him?
contract. He said, "I don't make movies like this, and if they want
really?
me to be in it,
It's
like it needs to be
PG-13?
PG-13."
Oh, legit?
Seriously, yeah. It was
Oh,
my
wow.
buddy, our buddy Brian, sent me a link. He was like, "Yeah."
Colin?
Brian Collins,
From-
film historian, yes,
From...
from Horror Movie A Day.
Oh, good. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
So you're
But-
getting into it. You're not-
He sent me a link. He was just like, Expendables 2 PG-13. I was like, no, it's fucking not. And I was like, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
He sends me a link, and Sylvester Stallone himself saying that. I was like, come on, this sucks.
Well, how
Friend
do you
of,
say?
our family actually goes to church with Chuck Norris, and he
Really?
sits in
Oh.
the front row every week.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that probably has something to do with it. He's
That
like,
sucks.
Oh,
When
wow.
he fucking just
Once
loses
again,
sense of
organized
Bible's
humor.
pretty
religion.
violent.
Once again, organized
Yeah.
religion subjugating people and
Yeah.
censoring people and everything of that
Wow,
nature.
that's a weird...
Even Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck's not... Well, not make a God analogy to Chuck, but come on.
It's about as close as you can get.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Oh, he's 72, right, or
Yeah,
something?
Yeah, but he'd
71,
still
72.
roundhouse our face. Our
Oh,
head
of course.
off.
No, he'd chew on, like, he'd be, oh, how you doing? I'd just, like, melt in front of him and just, like the Ark of the Covenant. And then just it'd be like...
Lost Ark.
Yeah, exactly. It would just be... And he'd just, like, make scrambled eggs out of me. But, I mean, the guy's, like, 72. He looks like maybe he's... Oh, he looks like he's 50.
Yeah.
And it's like, he looks good for 50. Oh, he's 72.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
It's like him
makes me
and
feel
Jack
good.
LaLanne. Like, was
Yeah.
Jack LaLanne 80 years old when he was
Is
running
he-
the
He
English
fucking
Channel?
with
Towing,
like
like,
towing a
80
boat in his
boats.
teeth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like come on. Even you put a hemp rope in my mouth, I'm gonna fucking be like crying on the floor. This guy towed boats
Yeah.
across like one of the strongest currents in the world.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Wow.
okay,
Yeah, I wonder how much that is reliable, but with him. But no, yeah, LaLanne's dead, right? Or is he alive?
Yeah, a couple years
I
ago.
think he died
Died?
a couple years back.
Or did he? He just put on a...
Yeah, I think that was actually an android. Like him and Bob Barker, they were androids probably 10 years ago, and now they're just
They're just kind of out of their,
I saw, like, some
their
commercial
human
with
shell.
Bob Barker. And it was just-
We were talking about that.
Yeah, it was
Why
so
he
creepy.
needs
He
to
was
do
just
it?
like so tan and like he
Yeah.
just looks like a fucking
marionette.
Yeah, he looks
melted
like...
bronze.
Yeah, it looks like a teepee pretty much thrown over a human being. Like, just like, it's just kind of like,
He
oh,
looks
okay.
like a photo negative because his skin's so dark and his hair's like bright white.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you're like a negative, aren't you?
Yeah, like, yeah.
What happened to you? You know.
Yeah, no, we were having a discussion. We were at Colleen's house, Colleen and Jeff's house, I think, and it was the ad for I forget what, insurance maybe. Or like, oh, does he need to do it anymore? It's like, well, I'm sure he has all the money, but it was the argument like, does he just like to be in the spotlight? And just that's a weird. Yeah, it really gets to that point like, do you need it? And that's actually the documentary Conan O'Brien can't stop.
I want to see that.
It talks about it's not bad. One online reviewer put it best. If you like Conan, you'll like this. And it's just kind of, the documentary's kind of shit from a documentary perspective. It's not really.
Not like My Name is Jonah, which is an excellent documentary.
Oh my God, yes. Well, all right.
My name is JonahFilm.com. Check it out. It's whatever.
Oh, I was going to say .org, but that's the...
You're involved in the movie.
At this point.
No, yeah, that's why it's a non-profit and archival. My name is JonahFilm.org.
It's going to be in the Smithsonian. And the you know.
We're going to put Jonah in the Smithsonian. He's going to be put away. We're going to freeze-dry him. Make it happen, or carbonite.
I don't know if anyone else, because we kind of touched on martial arts as well.
Oh yeah, go.
I don't know if anyone knows, like Bob Barker's like an 8th degree fucking Aikido.
Are you
master.
shitting me?
Is he really?
Look him up. Yeah, he's like an 8th degree, or some ungodly ranked Aikido master.
Do you think people would just come after him because he's like Bob Barker? Like they want to prove something?
Hey, Bobby. Just come at him with a crowbar.
I can just see him up there, like, you know, manning the Plinko fucking game, and someone attacks him, and like, he just disarms them and like dislocates their shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Kari, clean this up. Get this off the fucking stage with this little tiny mic. He like, he's like just swashbuckling with a tiny mic.
Does it just come out and there's a knife underneath it?
Exactly. It's an expandable baton, and he just fucking kills people with it.
He's a CIA agent. No, yeah, and then he goes, yeah. Looks like you lose.
That'd be the best. Some guy gets his arm broken, and you're like, oh.
It just makes him play the game. Pick it. Higher or lower, $1. Don't be a pussy.
The best is like towards the end of like Price is Right. Like you could just hear the angst in Bob Barker's voice. Like,
God.
you seriously gonna pick 5 for that? You're a fucking idiot. Like, you know, that's exactly what he's saying, but like he like covers it up and masks it so well.
Do you think? And here's a feminist point of view. Do you think he ran a train, as we call, on every lady before each? Price is Right.
I'm adding my own commentary.
Are you okay?
Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, I think you're sneezing because you're exercising the demons because you're thinking.
I'm supposed to be babysitting my niece tonight. And the first thing I do, I'm gonna fucking punt her like a football right over the wall.
Yeah. Well, she's
I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna cough right in her face. I'm gonna hold her by her little tiny head, just be like.
She's like silly putty though. She'll take it. She'll bounce off the walls, go back in your nostril, come out.
Yeah.
It'll be like
3 years. 3 years of a perfect immune system totally fucking dismantled by a 1-year-old infant.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, they're like a germ.
It's like a petri dish.
Yeah.
They harbor like bacteria. But yeah, train, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much the validity there is to that, but you know.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the whole like joke is he like, oh, he's fucking them all, but it's like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm sure like
he might have shattered his pelvis if he tried.
Yeah, you know? I'm sure like that thing comes off like a fucking Tyrannosaurus toothpick. It's just kind of like an archaic penis. It's just the only reason it's held up is because there's iron bars like grafted in there, like someone's like breaks their arm.
His ejaculate is like powdered milk.
It's a dust cloud.
It's just like cloud,
like
yeah,
stepping on like a spore mushroom.
Yeah. Oh god. Mount St. Helens. I just soot from the sky. Yeah. Oh god, old man soot.
Yeah, we should talk about.
Yeah, what more Bob Barker ejaculate? Is that what we're getting at?
That's gonna be, that's gonna be on like the comments. Bob Barker
ejaculate. Yeah. Question mark.
Jarrett, you came several hundred miles to be here. What'd you wind up doing last night?
Oh my god. Well, now being 31, married 5 years and 10 years, so I can.
And a business major, you're a smart fella.
I can admit this on the air now at this point, but we rolled a few dice, played a little Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, shit!
Whoa! What do you guys? What does that mean? I'm just a low. I'm not. My nerd totem pole doesn't go that far down.
Peon, if you will. Hi. But no, at your brother's house even.
What?
Yeah.
He soiled my name? Yeah, I remember him distinctly saying, "Don't cough on the dice."
Yes.
Yeah. Did you? Or
I did.
Why? Like a couple of times? Good luck?
Snot rockets all over the board.
Yeah.
That was a good time, though. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. It was brought me back to being 16 and acnified, sitting in some basement listening to Led Zeppelin and eating a bag of Funyuns. Yeah, it was good times, So hey,
it is the best thing. It is the best time you can have in an embarrassing situation.
Yeah. No, here's the bigger question. Now, harkening back to Kevin Smith's film Mallrat, and the character Brody who reads comics spouting out. Just because a guy reads some comics doesn't mean he can't surf some shit.
Fucking A.
What would you say to that of the Dungeons and Dragons variety?
I'd probably say if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you shouldn't start some shit. Most of the time, you're physically incapable.
You have a diminutive stature because you're sedentary about, I don't know, 40 hours a week rolling dice. So
well, your wrists are okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too quickly.
Then you get carpal tunnel when you get later. So either way, you're fucking screwed.
High blood pressure because all you do is eat snacks.
Yeah.
Your diet is Cheetos, Funyuns, beef jerky,
Mountain Dew, fucking slam can.
And your eyes are gone because you're reading fonts lower than 6, pretty much.
It's awesome. In
It's
dim light.
And dim light.
Black light, to set the mood of the dungeon.
Hey, gentlemen, why is the fog machine on fire? Actually, that would be like, there is a great show called The IT Crowd. Yes, and you probably know what I'm about to reference when Moss, the character of Moss, or actually, what was it? The Cat Patterson, or Parkinson, who, I forget the name on the show. The female.
I'm thinking of a different one. I'm thinking of Code Monkeys, I think.
Code Monkey is, I know the song Code Monkey,
Mm-hmm.
but which I actually like that ballad. But there's IT Crowd on Netflix. It's a BBC show. One of the characters, the supervisor of the IT department, who's a woman who knows nothing about computers, is kind of the people person, and she has to be the new Frodo for the company. She has to take people out and like show them a good time, and she doesn't get. They're like, "Oh, you're the new Frodo," or Fredo. Yeah. I'm sorry, Frodo. Different thing. But no, yeah, she's the person who has to show them a good time, get them laid and everything. But she doesn't understand that. Like, oh, take them to a show. Mm-hmm. Takes the people to the vagina monologue, and all these guys are like, "Oh, I never ought to go back."
Yeah.
And they get thrown out because they were being saucy or whatever, and it's like Moss, one of the nerdier guys on the show, is a character who takes them on a Dungeons and Dragons game, and like they all get into it, and they all just create this atmosphere. But it's a good show. I'd recommend it. I think it's like season 2 or 3. But that's Dungeons and Dragons. I don't think we've talked about officially. We've referenced it like the nerd hierarchy.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's like there really is a scale of.
Oh, there
nerdery.
is.
Yeah, I think that's at the very top.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
what's that one?
Depends which way
the
you're going.
live action one.
LARPing.
LARPing or Realms,
I think
Realms, whatever you want to call it.
Probably is number 1.
I think
number 2 is
that's
probably D&D.
That's too much.
Yeah, when you're camping in a tent and running around fighting with foam swords, I'm
Which-
not mocking it because I have done it.
I was gonna say you did do that.
You're getting outdoors. You're getting outdoors.
And but
I tried it once, and it was at Bobby. Bobby, like our old friend Bobby, used to have these events at his house all the time, and there would literally be like 100 people there.
Lightning bolt.
Yeah, 100 people wearing fucking shitty costumes and like foam swords, throwing beanbags at each other. And I fucking showed up for one, and I was like, nah, I can't do this.
You know what's great is there's people in that group or society or whatever culture you want to say.
It's really in depth too.
Right, and they are like kings, and they have these elaborate costumes, and then you see them drive off in like a Hyundai with no hubcaps, and they go into they work at Blockbuster, and you're like, well, if you put that much effort into the game, into your real life, maybe you wouldn't be living in your mom's basement, But hey, I'm not knocking everybody. I'm just saying. That's all. It's just an observation.
Don't do the "I'm just saying" thing, because that totally. Because my father-in-law, bless him, he does that. Like he'll write stuff like that, or write an email like that, or people will say stuff like, and I hear him just saying. It's like, yeah, I know you're just saying. You just said it. I heard it coming out of your mouth, you asshole.
That's why you're a fuck up. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Wait a minute.
It doesn't negate what you just said.
That's true.
It's like, I understand you want to soften the blast a bit, but it's just like, let's just leave it and we'll all walk away. But no, I agree.
It's an observation I have made.
It's a pretty
in my time.
It's a pretty astute observation.
One of my best buds who lives in New York actually is a co-host of a great video podcast called Same Night Movie Review, which you can catch on NorCam as well and online. Tuesday nights, I think they do.
Oh, we're going to be airing on NorCam as well.
We are. We'll be airing on NorCam as well.
Yeah.
This, I think, will be the next Saturday night at 1 a.m., I think. And I think Monday or Sunday nights.
How do you listen to it? Is it a radio station?
No, it's if you're in like the more closer to North Reading. If you have Comcast, I believe if you have North Reading, Wakefield, Wilmington, it reaches like 4 to 8 towns. Incidentally, it all depends what your provider. If you have Verizon, I don't think so. I think it's just North Reading. But
How cool is that, folks? You can check out Sock Talk.
It's all right. It's public access. That's what I tell people. It's like, it's fun.
We're mass communicating.
Yeah, there we go.
We're Wayne's World over here.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think more people should take advantage of public access because why the hell not? Yeah. But lending to the point about I'm just saying, or just my buddy from Same Night Movie Review, he's a LARPer. I remember when I was he was my dorm mate or roommate for 4 years because we got along. We actually were in a triple for like the first 2 weeks, and then our other buddy Matt, he was pretty cool too. We're all kind of nerdy, and then I had a box of porn. I just had Sapped, as you can imagine from the last episode. Why would that be surprising?
Yeah, exactly.
But it said box O porn, like the big O.
Oh, yeah.
With the apostrophe.
Yep.
Yes, I was
nice.
proper.
Grammatically correct.
Yeah, and Irish with it, but so what happened? I like, what the hell is it? The foam swords. And I was just like whacking things with it. And just like, hey, don't do that. And I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Is this like where we get rid of cockroaches? And it's like, oh no, it's the LARPing. I'm like, oh, and he just like, it's like you have that like it's moment in a movie where I just sit back and just like a montage of it and explaining things and acting things out, like puppet motions. I'm like shaking my head like, yeah, okay. And then I just go back and I just read something else. And he's like, oh, you're going to do it? I'm like, oh, no. But
No. But, yeah.
It's good to know about.
I would like to say that I shouldn't knock it because it's a fucking blast.
Well, I should try it because another attractive friend of mine.
I don't know, your heart gets pumping when you're like fighting off like 4 people. And you're like by yourself with like a freaking tiny ass little like, 3-foot foam sword, and you just get whacked. It's fun. I mean, hey, I'm gonna say that much. It's fun.
It's the same as listen. You're right. It's the same as organized sports.
Yeah.
And the only difference is perception, pretty much, or just like
and athleticism,
and
money, and glory.
Yeah, PR is a little rough on that one. They need a better PR person for that sport.
No, but it's true. But I mean, I will give him more credit for being, as we kind of talk about, being outside and being in the sun. But if your character is a cave troll, then. You might have to get out of the sun.
That's true. Or you're wearing like full like plate mail and it's
made of felt.
Wow.
Yeah, made of felt. It's 90 degrees out. It's a bit tough.
We laugh because we care about laughing.
It's so funny because like one of our other buddies, like I remember he was having like a kid. And he wasn't like really a friend. He was one of those. You know how you have like those nerd friends who are just like you don't really like them, but they're always around for nerdy things. Yeah. They're just kind of there, just kind of like. But he was one of those guys. And he was having like a kid. And he was like completely irresponsible. He was working like 10 hours a week in a movie theater, having a kid. Yep. And he went and spent like $200 on custom moccasins for like a Realms event. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, your priorities are way out of whack, pal.
No. It's like you earned that fake platinum.
What?
I say this as someone who just came from a Dungeons and Dragons game last night.
I mean, I think the important thing is, just like anything else, know where to have your fun. Just like gambling or, anything like with sports, it's anything else. And, I'm definitely guilty of it. I love action figures. And I think I talked the first time, like, it's just like masturbating. Like the Louis C.K. bit, like after you do, you're like, ugh. It's like, all right. You just feel shameful, or just like, I could have done something in the last like 5 minutes or something.
Did you see his new special, the hour-long?
No, I have to buy
special?
it.
I bought that and checked it out
Everyone
last
tells
week.
me it's amazing.
It really is good. He basically, Louis C.K. put out a special. It's like an hour-long special.
If the internet didn't know already.
Yeah, you can only get it online. It's like, it cost you $5. You pay through PayPal, and it's like, it's just like his own way of trying to get out.
I don't think it should. I think PayPal and some other. I think you
can do other ways too. Yeah,
which is awesome because PayPal is also the demon of the online commerce world.
It's kind of nice though, because being someone who's had to do shopping carts and stuff like that, it's a bitch to set up something like that.
But if you get fucked, I got fucked by a partnership on an eBay account, and then I just couldn't use that. I could still pay for it and use it again, but I can't use my eBay account again. I use my wife's, and that goes to the point of the action figures thing. Like I'm like, oh yeah, the new like Marvel Legends. Pimping out Marvel Legends 2012.
Those are good toys, actually. I remember those
line coming out, and it's in Taiwan or whatever, because that's where they start like their product placement over there. Is this too much information,
just
or am I just professor?
I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, we're good. Just to let you know, at home they're whittling. They'd rather whittle and just responses of "fuck you" into 10 pounds
dicks
of wood.
made out of soap.
Yeah, just like sure, whatever, buddy. But there's on eBay they have like the whole line, which now you can build a figure if you get each line. That's how they kind of drag you in. You have to get every figure in line to build this other figure, which is like maybe an
inch
taller.
They've been doing that for a few years. Like they had like a Sentinel one. I remember that.
Yeah, pretty decent. Some ones are fun, but it's like they're like on the low end, $150 for like the set of 6 figures, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm debating like, I should get that, and that's the same kind of like, let's get these moccasins, which I'm sure, like, I would love for the story or the comedy of the story's sake, not for reality's sake, that he wouldn't wear them inside the house or for, like, oh, my feet are cold, I can't wear those. It's only for outside.
They're so like a cherished relic.
Yeah. But no, it's pretty much the same type of deal. So there's, shame.
It's a great hobby. Like, if I had kids and, like, you know what? That's a great, clean way to have a good time. You know what? It's harmless. It really is. I mean, they're not hurting anybody, so it's like, and I can say from personal experience, I had a blast when I did it. You know.
Well, you have a martial arts background too, so I'm sure that's like must have been more fun to be actually legitimately be able to kick the shit out of somebody.
Well, you know, it was a good time to say the least, but like, we dressed up as ninjas. Like, how awesome is that? You like walk into like a room and everybody's like in their capes and their green tunics, and like a team of ninjas walks in. You're like, okay, we're fucked. You know,
shit.
There's never you can never get enough ninjas.
I'm one level mage. I can't get out of this. Yeah, beanbag, lightning bolt. There actually is a great documentary called Monster Camp on Netflix. I don't know if you ever see it. Check it out. It might still be there, but it's pretty good, and it pretty much lends to the sage advice we're giving to everyone. Like, it's cool to have hobbies, but remember, hobby is a hobby.
Yeah.
If it's your life, then that's your decision. Just don't get angry. It's like, man, I never get this girl, but I try to bring her to my mom's house. She's always cooking bullshit meatloaf. You can't pass the smell. And it's just
cooking
like
whitefish. Stick up the whole house. Why does my wool coat smell like fucking cod?
Oh, everyone's gonna laugh. No, but it's like, I mean, but if that's the life you choose, just remember, like, these are the choices that lead to that.
Right.
But Monster Camp is a great example of all that stuff.
The choices that lead and obviously perpetuate virginity.
Yeah, that should be the book jacket, or just like a documentary on nerdery. But no, I mean, it's true though. I mean, that's like the whole thing. Like, we have these choices, and I think we talked about it in the first podcast or second. We keep building on topics we mentioned, and then hopefully this will be like a compendium of just like one single thought.
Useless knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Season 1. Yeah, season 1.
Yeah,
season 2.
It's like what we got off our back.
It's so much fucking fun though. Like, dude, it's like 4 hours of just like it's like weird to play something that actually involves your imagination. It's like your imagination and math.
Yeah.
And like you put those two things together, and like one of which isn't fun at all, and then
math is pretty cool, guys.
Yeah, math rules. Quadratic equations.
I mean, in film, that's pretty much math.
You're Asian.
Yeah,
which it comes naturally.
It's just a part of my brain that just.
There's like a small percentage of the brain that's just labeled, Oriental mathematics.
This is a picture of an abacus, though.
There's an abacus
going at like 100 miles per hour back and forth. I would what was it? Like, if it were like, what is it? The David Cronenberg, Christopher Walken, Dead Zone. If there's like a moment like you touch like a math problem, and then you have like that shudder, and then you come back, it's 85, and it's just kind of like, how did he do that?
Japan is pretty much an entire country of Rain Men. Like, you can just calculate mathematics like that.
So wait, I am interested in Japan, obviously, for my basic nerdery. I know. So it's gonna be the so how is it's an arcade where you can sleep over. But no, I am actually also love Katie O'Hearn, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Oh, maybe not. Damn it.
Who's Katie O'Hearn?
He is a gentleman, a Yankee, who went over to Japan in the, I believe, late 1900s, mid to late 1900s, to try to figure out, as Mr. Burns would say, those sandal-wearing fish peddlers. It's an old Simpsons when...
That's awesome.
It's an amazing episode at the beginning of the Union. Oh, when Homer...
Bosch Flimshaw.
Yeah, I think it was... Oh, God. It was
Homer
when...
became their union rep.
It was the union rep or like when Homer becomes head of the union and they try to get stuff back. I think that's it. Because Mr. Burns, he learns about how his grandfather took care of unions because that guy had a speck of atoms in his pockets. They like thugs took him down. Yeah, 3-4 atoms in there. And then they talked about, we'll unionize, and the guy being pulled away is like, you better watch out, we'll unionize, and then the Japanese will eat us alive. And it's brilliant comedy in pure Simpsons heyday, but. No, I guess like Kate O'Hearn during that time frame, like mid 19th to late 19th century, I believe. I could be off, but he went over just to figure out, like, is this culture, like, how much different are we? And he pretty much got all these ghost stories, all these crazy, great cult stories over, and he just started writing about it. And he was kind of at his last legs. He was a smart guy. He wrote for a bunch of newspapers, but he, you know, pretty impoverished and went from place to place. And he just, you know, it's a great window for just any, like, American who wants to be like, all right, well, how was it like then? And I think he ended up in... maybe not Tokyo. Maybe I know he ended up in Japan. I think his wife was Japanese.
Right.
His wife was Japan, the actual country of Japan.
The archipelago.
Yeah. Oh, the reach around of that archipelago. But yeah, no, it's just very interesting. A lot of his stories, and he kind of did that bridge from American culture, and it was pretty cool. So I recommend looking that up.
Jared and I were talking about Japan on the way down here, actually, just because.
Ooh, naturally.
No, obviously, this is fucking
segues
into being Japanese.
Yeah, well, what is your lineage, I guess?
Japanese and Italian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
my
you're
dad's Italian, my mom's.
How'd you get into the country? That's the access.
Yeah, you know, yeah. I was smuggled in a salami, sliced open salami.
Yes.
No, I just, you know, Japanese, Italian, but my mom's half, and I'm a quarter. But yeah, we were talking about it, like John was saying, on the way over.
It's an amazing culture.
When I went over to Tokyo in April 2010, and it's just unreal. Like, I can't even begin to describe how much more advanced they are, like, on just so many levels, like whether it's, you know, garbage pickup to cleanliness to just everything is so efficient. I hate to use that word in any context with Japanese, because that's what everyone says, like, oh, Japanese, very efficient, you know, and it's just everything over there is super efficient. They recycle everything. There's no crime. Well, I
haven't got time for that. You know, I got to throw this out the window of my car. I got places to be.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
It's like toxic waste. In your car.
Just a milkshake with somebody off the chest.
Speaking of which, today, if there's any chance, I gotta take the car because this will be useless to you guys. But today's Free Fribble Day. All right, that was my useless. I'm sorry. I'm a fat kid, but go ahead.
But no, it's just. Like, just walking down the street, there's 7 trash barrels. Not trash barrels, but there's 6 recycling bins, and then there's 1 bin that's just purely for tossing out trash. So they're just so advanced in that sense. I mean, definitely their animal rights, you can get into that stuff. They're a little bit behind whaling and all that. But
yeah, and that's been actually escalating as of late, right?
Yeah. But, like, everything about, like, even their, like, just the sense of honor. Like, I remember going to a public park, and there's the public restroom, and you would see like 60 purses just lined up outside of this restroom. And when the women would go in, they would leave their purses outside, lined up against the wall, so they don't have to have their put it on the sink or anything. Nobody would touch them. They'd come out and get their purse and go.
Well, you heard it here first. Time to go to Japan.
Yeah, it's just they're just advanced
Grab some purses.
in something very simple like. You know, you get a Metro card in New York or Boston, and it's about the size of a credit card. You know, and it's got that magnetic strip, and you can reuse it. But in Tokyo, it's about the size of a raffle ticket, and the whole back of it is a magnetic strip. The whole thing is black. And when you put it in the machine, if it's the last of the money or the fare, it takes it into the machine because they're going to recycle them.
Oh, nice.
But in New York, when you swipe, the empty card, someone just chucks it over their shoulder.
They have a machine that literally just takes it and throws it into the fucking flower bed.
Well, they recycle it, But in New York, it's like you just see just Metro cards everywhere, just empty Metro cards.
I will see, that method of culture or method of, as a result of not being ingrained, I guess, which is kind of the awesome and hair-pulling aspect of American culture.
Yeah.
Like of that ability of being that melting pot, not giving a shit, but also, harming yourself. But I will say the tea in Boston isn't that bad about it because I always see them around. Whether people use it or not is a different thing.
Right.
But I do like the automation of the Japanese rail is what they call it, or no?
I don't know. No, that's London, but I don't know what they call it over there.
Because they also have the crazy super trains, right?
Yeah, the bullet train that runs on the magnetic.
I think it's amazing that it's like
them in France, or
a whole nation that's been based off of like war. Like they're just they're like a warrior tribe.
They're militaristic.
What they are. Yeah, they've always been a really powerful nation as far as military goes.
Peaceful people.
But they've always isolationism, and then we showed up with ironclads.
Yeah, now they have. Now you can buy used panties and fucking dispensers and stuff.
In a vending machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Their vending machines are like fucking computers. Like you show up to this thing and you can get a full meal. Yeah, I'll have spaghetti and meatballs, a pot of coffee, and I don't know, key lime pie. And it dispenses. And you're just like, what? It's just absurd, like how advanced many things are over there. Just everything.
Well, yeah, I had a buddy who I met a couple years ago. I actually met him for the first time. He's his name's Shota, and he was like he's straight off the boat he went to Berkeley.
Wow.
Like when he was 18. So he was pretty well read too, and he was like telling me all the stuff, like, because we were joking about all sexual innuendo and everything. He was telling me about the hand job machines they have.
Oh my god.
We were just getting the weird conversations about like what?
I didn't know those existed.
Well, it was bizarre. Like there's a whole bunch. I guess we were going down the litany of them.
Is that just like a natural side effect of having like a fucking atom bomb dropped on you? Just fucking give you
or
like
eating
a weird sexually
diet,
Well, the Germans are the same way, just shitting on each other too.
No, but I think that's just like
it's a weird sexual
if you're
repression.
in a culture, I mean, if you're
repression.
just kind of in, I guess, yeah, sexual. Like, think about East and West Berliners. Like, East Berlin, just kind of like.
Scheiße.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were kind of like they had to deal with the curtain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just they dealt with it with art and with fucking. Kind of like
and booze,
which leads to both.
Even in Tokyo, like I don't think I ever drank so much in my entire life.
Oh, really?
When I go over there, because they love to get like party down and sing karaoke.
Nice.
It's like, I understand now. I understand why karaoke is so accepted in this culture, because everybody's smashed after 9 p.m. You know,
that's pretty great.
They have their own rooms that they do karaoke, so it'd be a room like this, and it's you and your friends go in, so you don't feel like a boob when you're on stage and you suck horribly.
That's kind of the thing about like I have to go with Colleen and you guys when you do karaoke, but one of the things about it is just kind of like, I know I'm doing this podcast and I'll talk to people and I'll perform. I can perform in front of people, be it sexually or whatever. But
which you are doing right now.
Yeah, of course. I'm working up a sweat. They call it the old greaseball factory. But no, it's just like but that's another thing, because you kind of want to be half good, and like karaoke is that we're laughing, but I kind of seriously want to get this right.
I refuse to do anything unless I'm good at something. Like Colleen dragged me out on the fucking stage last couple weeks ago. You know? I can't do it though. If it's something like Colleen dragged me out on the stage to like sing a song with her, and it's like I don't do that. And like dancing's the same way. If I can't do something and like go out there and fucking actually impress somebody by doing it, I don't want to do it because I feel like an asshole.
Alcohol is a great thing, because that will remove those inhibitions. You'd be like, I'm the greatest fucking singer of all time.
But also, you just exactly. You just have a great time and just be a jackass. Because I mean, the second best thing, like fuck it, and then you just like jig for like 10 minutes about just sort of like just fake bones.
Gyrate your pelvis, you know. What's great is like I remember going on a cruise like 5 years back, and we went up and did karaoke, and like the best was like if you made a group, you could name your group. So we were the heat-seeking beef missiles, and like everybody in the whole place was like, "Oh my god, it's so vulgar." We're like. Rock on! As we screamed out a song. So.
Oh God, awesome. Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's one of the things when I get my friend Jeremy again. One of the things was like, okay, when we get the money, we'll go to Japan and just kind of. We had a friend who taught there, and she loved it, and also one of the game show, and also the kid. I mean, the perversion aside, sharking, which I am upset that 30 Rock brought that into the limelight, because that was one of my favorite jokes of all time. I'm gonna shark you, and just like
I don't even know what that is.
You know what sharking is?
Yeah, explain.
Oh my God, it's like, think about Europeans are now taking heat of it too, but a Japanese, like someone wearing a tube top, whoop, and someone would just go up and go and run, and that would be the
pull
thing.
Pull your tits out, right?
Yeah, you do it to somebody.
Just pull their shirt down?
It wouldn't be like the woman would do it voluntarily, as per most of Japanese, like, fucking it somewhere.
Where's this big?
It was big in Japan. I think it's big in Europe now, too, and like 30 Rock mentioned it as a joke or two, or maybe one.
Try bringing that to the old US of A.
Yeah, you know.
I would shark anything.
Yeah, you get pepper sprayed. You build up your immunity first, and then you can go out sharking all you want.
That's true. You just have to know where to know your role. But also, like, I would love to do a video with obviously the Jaws theme, and then like build up to that one moment when it would just happen.
Is it wailing when you pull down like a large, like heavy set woman's?
It might actually. That's a good point. I mean, you make harpooning or just some sort of oil reserve joke about it. But yeah. No, I mean
some lipstick.
Just get it going. So that's Japan. Definitely got to go. Thank you.
Dude, I want to go just to fucking chill in a hot spring. I just want to go sit in a hot spring. Yeah.
How was that?
Dude, it was the greatest thing of all time.
Bizarre.
It's like, it's kind of odd though, because everybody's nude, you know, and like you pretty much want to maintain eye contact at all times. Because like you don't want to
eye contact with their genitals.
No.
Draw like an eye.
Yeah, because like
Wiggly eyes.
I think the average age is like 70 in those places. So it's like you don't want to look down. You don't even want your eyes to wander. So you got to look like at people's eyebrows.
I'm so fascinated by that culture. Boy, it's just like of war and spirituality. It's like a weird combination. It's such a.
Well, why don't you marry?
Oh, maybe I will then.
High five somebody, but no one's around.
It was very interesting to go there because like even the 80-year-olds would kick the shit out of a 25-year-old probably in this country because like they ride their bikes everywhere, they walk everywhere. Like I'm not saying everybody, but my great uncle 78 rode his bike everywhere, and we went to the hot springs. He like took his shirt off and he could have punched me in the face and knocked me out cold. Like he was jacked, and like you're 78 years old.
Why won't you die?
Yeah,
the American way.
They're just. Most of them, I would say, are healthy. Besides the smoking, smoking's pretty big over there. But
that's another like coffee drinking is really big now too, right?
Coffee, smoking.
We just love to introduce like things. We're just like, hey, have some coffee, have some cigarettes.
That's pretty much what it was. It was just kind of like, how do we get that culture to, or just like it's just like commercial imperialism. And I think we were talking online about was it economic hitmen.
Yep.
That book.
I've heard about that. That's really fascinating.
Yeah, Perkins, John. What's his last name? Perkins, John Perkins, I think.
I've heard about that guy from actually one of the movies I watched. Half conspiracy, half just fun to get your ideas flowing. Oh God, I forget what the name of it. Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist is fun.
Part 2 is pretty good too.
Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah, that's where I saw. I was like, I should check that book out.
And he seemed pretty on the level enough. But I mean, like anything else, like you say, check it out, check out the book. But yeah, economically, like market to like the kid, like coffee commercials for cartoons. Yeah, and then that grows and that seeds. And then same with cigarettes.
Well, the John Perkins book, it's pretty much the premise is that World Bank, and you can get into the conspiracy like we talked about before, but it's that they do predatory lending to small developing countries, and what they would do
Ecuador,
is say,
right?
What
was it? Ecuador with their water or their gas? Or am I thinking?
I'm not sure. I think Chile had the privatized water.
Yes, yeah.
They built like a dam or something like that. It cost so much to maintain, and they couldn't. So it's like, well, you owe us this, and they take it, and then it's like it's fucking ridiculous.
Well, IMF.
What John Perkins did was basically he was like an economist. He would go into these developing countries and say, oh, okay, well, you have these natural resources, we'll loan you the money so that you can, extract these resources to build the infrastructure, and your projected economic growth, and what he would do is he would inflate the projected economic growth. So when, in all reality, mathematically, it would be like 5 to 7%, he'd say, with today's markets and today's prices, 22% growth. And they would loan them money based on that growth. And what would happen is they would go into default, these countries, 2-3 years later, and they weren't able to pay back the money that they had loaned. And so what would happen was they would say, well, you can't pay the money, so how about we get an excellent price on the natural resource that you're exporting? Or how about you give it to us solely at this privatized or this.
It's amazing that's allowed.
And what he would do is he did that worldwide. He did it everywhere
with the IMF, right? The International Monetary.
Yeah, the monetary funds and the World Banks and all that, and basically he did it for years and years and years.
And these aren't conspiracies; these are actual
practices.
These
are practices. I mean, like this guy. Basically, he wrote the book because he's like, I had to get it off my chest, or he's like, I'm gonna burn in hell, but he's like, I have to get it off my chest.
You're gonna atone certain ways.
Yep.
As in the Christian way, not in my way.
That's right. Burning fire, lakes up.
You have a cabin by the lake of fire.
Great book, great read. I mean, I enjoyed it. So.
Well, speaking of conspiracy theories, we were talking a little bit about.
Actually, talk about. I have to go get chapstick because I'm a little boy.
Well, we were talking a little bit about like ancient cultures before we kicked in with the podcast, and just how it's weird that it seems like so much has been lost over the years as far as technology and innovation goes. But you look back to like 10, 20,000 years ago, and it's like you had all these ancient civilizations that had a much better knowledge of the solar system and mathematics, and it was just and they were just more efficient.
I mean, let's not be all right. I understand what you're about to say, but we do have a great understanding of the universe.
Oh, we absolutely do.
Yeah,
which is built on their foundation as well. But also, I mean, come on.
It's a more primitive and wasteful. System,
I think no. I think you would. Like knowledge of the universe is one thing, but also like how we use our resources here might be another. Or like on the kind of cusp of what we're talking about, the IMF or all these other economic. I dig what you're saying. Yeah, we have to lend more to kind of like an earth-based practice where we don't fuck ourselves too much. But I don't think that's the general consensus for people who are legit trying to find out about the universe. Like, just like NASA or just mostly...
NASA's getting fucked right now, too. Like, they're just
they don't have any money.
They're killing the funding for NASA. It's like space exploration's completely almost been ruled out at this point.
That was R&D.
So, hey, we can let's just spend money on making a bomb that implodes and kills everything within a 30-mile radius, but fuck getting off the planet.
And the particle, I thought you were talking about the particle accelerator there.
Oh, that thing's fucking insane, dude.
Didn't they discover the big God particle?
Yeah, the God particle.
Yeah! Oh, who's going to...
Oh, my God.
Yep. Or the possible, and then they tried it again.
It's a fucking...
And then they confirmed.
It's like a 30-mile underground facility. The Large Hadron Collider. And the whole idea is like they're just taking atoms and smashing them into each other, trying to find the God particle.
They're trying to recreate the Big Bang, in essence. Like,
what is it? The Gibbs-Hobson particle or something like that. It's something like the Hobbs-Gibson, something like that. It's
and they
particle.
stopped it a bunch of times.
Yeah, and they almost found it. Like recently, there was a development a couple months back where they're like, "Oh, we found it," and then it's like, "Oh no, we didn't." Or
I thought they confirmed it.
They went back. I thought they went back a few days later. I read, and then it was turned out to be bunk. But
either way, that's incredible. And
it creates miniature black holes. That's a part of the effect. Yeah, part of the effect of like smashing atoms into each other at light speed fucking underground. Apparently, it creates miniature black holes.
The smaller you get, the more powerful things get.
It's such
that's why it's the push me, pull me universe theory of just
think about that.
The more you look in, the more you're looking.
What are we gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with dark matter? You say you have some dark matter.
It could be used for fuel eventually. They've talked about.
When we don't know what dark matter. Dark matter is such a fucking weird phrase because it doesn't mean necessarily anything. It just means anything that light doesn't touch, which is fucking 97% of the universe.
Right.
And it's roughly, but it's just kind of like dark matter. Like it would be a great step. Like it's just like finding the DNA strand or finding genomes. Like that's where you begin. I understand like the destructive nature of it. It's just
we'd love to meddle. We just love to meddle. Like but we do. It's like human beings just love meddling.
Well, it's like Pandora's box. It's like what's in there, and the next thing you know, everything blows up. You're like,
Well, you have respect, but in the same right. Grant Morrison, I'll say it again, one of his great lines. People seem to, paraphrasing, he didn't necessarily, he said that we are nature. And it's true, because people seem to have that, like, disconnect, like, where we will say, like, us against Mother Nature. It's like, well, no. Like, we're fingertips of nature, as he would put it. We are, like, just because you might say, like, we're fighting Mother Nature. We're battling. We're poisoning her. It's like, well, I guess we're poisoning ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think about it like
maybe that's our role, though. That's like what we're supposed to do.
Well, I mean, listen, you either mutate or die, and that's kind of, or like whatever that means. I know we've come to term. I just put my hand on his about how, and warming about just like how, what we do when we die, or if it's just that it or.
Like John said, the meat vessel.
Yeah, the meat vessel.
We vacate the meat
by
vessel.
That concept.
Yeah.
Because it's like I don't feel
very Renaissance-y. It's just a vessel for
my body right now feels like shit because I'm sick, but I'm fine. It's weird that like you have to differentiate between the two. It's like
it's just like your psychological state, which can be affected by your physical state.
Talking about this, I think there's just a lot that humans are capable of. Not necessarily like developing in technologies, but I think the human body, like you said, it's the perfect machine.
It is.
It is the perfect machine. And obviously there's errors that go wrong sometimes, let's say in the protoplasm when we're getting,
but some say aging is actually a false mechanism or something that went wrong. That was another like
go on,
I'm sorry.
I just think that there's a lot that the human body can do that I think that with technology now we've supplemented what originally the human body could do, maybe in the Egyptian times and things like that. Like, like look at some of like the ancient texts where they talk about, like, I know this is a complete tangent, but like you read stuff
on
about
this
like
show,
like the Buddhist priests from like way back. There's stories of them flying. Like
that's
which
the
is
old
crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, you can link that up to just kind of like and Methuselah was 500 years old. Right. But I mean, like, which either extreme bullshit or just I know the level.
Right. A Methuselah rookie card.
No, but I think, and that isn't that like a large. I mean, I'm not. You guys are actually would be more akin to this than that. But I mean, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like the whole apex of training is basically flying.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, some of the feats that those people are able to accomplish, like I took Shaolin Kung Fu for a while, and my Sifu, he was a 130-pound fucking guy, and he was a tough motherfucker. Yeah. The power that he could generate,
centrifugal force.
Yeah, the power he could generate was amazing. Because I weigh about 200 pounds, and he could fucking lay me out just all the time, and just some of the things that he was capable of doing just by focusing his mind on something, it was just amazing to me.
It's all about that. Yeah. Oh.
What's it, chi? It's just incredible. Like, watch those videos of those monks like smash 2x4s on their neck
or get held up in the air by spears. Like their whole body would be on spears. Like
because they concentrate all that energy to one location.
It's amazing.
That's why I think like there's a great documentary about Shaolin monks. I can't remember. I saw it about 10 years ago, and basically they're up in the mountains of Tibet, like training. And this guy literally douses his entire body in ice cold water, and then wraps his body in an ice cold sheet. He sits in the snow and meditates, and next thing you know, it's just steam is just billowing off of him, and the big circle around him is just all melted.
It's amazing.
And like they took his temperature afterward, 98.6, perfectly fine. It's just incredible what the mind can do. Is what I'm trying to say.
Gentlemen, there was another study, and these are conjecture. Look it up, but no, basic like foundations for possibilities, and it was one of Indian. Not shaman, but like I'm trying to think of like the ranges of religious sect, but some sort of just almost like a meditation from this gentleman who was kind of religious,
like a yogi.
Yeah, of a bit of that same. I'm trying to think. Not a Buddhist, but a Hindu.
Or a bear that steals picnic baskets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, he's a little smarter than the average bear.
A little bit.
So we got to give him credit. But no, this gentleman was bear trap. The gay, big, burly gay man. It's a bear trap. But no, there's this. As you can see, I wrote Free Fribble today on my hand, so I don't forget.
That's awesome.
Really getting tangential. No, but they put this gentleman in a room and they regulated the air, so it would give the man enough oxygen for maybe like 17 minutes, and he was in there for half an hour, and he was able to regulate his breathing.
Yeah, slow down your heart rate. Well, there's even one where like holy water. Like if you look at normal water, tap water under the microscope, all the particles and atoms, they're all just chaotic. And then once a priest will bless holy water, all the particles align and they all become symmetrical.
Now, what if that has anything to do with the fact that, like, there's an old theory that anything that you actually affect your environment, and your environment is actually physically altered every time that you're in it, just by your presence.
No, I will say, I know, and to the audience, obviously, they should know at this point, conjecture, don't take anything to the bank, or, hey, Mom, guess what I heard? It's like, well, no, just this is your step one, and then go figure it out, because we have to, too. But where did this from
I think that
holy
was,
water?
It was, once again, I think it's called Down the Wormhole, or Down the Rabbit Hole. It's it's based on, what's it called, quantum physics.
Okay,
I think it's called Down the Rabbit Hole. It's a documentary I watched about maybe 3-4 years ago.
Oh, was it, this lady who... This old actress who was deaf and she could sign, and she was one of the Talking Heads. I do know what you're talking about. And they talk about the basketball and how they're not actually touching each other.
Right.
Things don't actually touch.
Right.
They actually just are bouncing off each other with kind of or bouncing around with like the particles in between.
Right.
But no, that is interesting.
Yeah, that you can manipulate your environment with just your mind, like
trillions of cells extended.
Yeah, well, like
we're so focused on the physical though right now. Like our culture as it is right now, it seems to be so focused on the physical,
the tangible.
The tangible, yeah. Like we kind of.
It would be good if we were focused on the good aspects of the physical and not the easy aspects of the physical.
Yeah, it's.
But I hear what you're saying.
There's almost like an intentional trying to dumb down the populace so that.
Subjugation.
Yeah. I mean,
I think you and I were also talking about like the ages, like the golden ages and all that earlier. And, like we're supposed to be approaching the December 21st, 2012. The whole Mayan thing that everyone talks about. Like the Mayans never actually said that it was the end of the world. They just said it was the end of an age. In Hindu, I believe it's a Hindu belief. They say that the age that we're approaching is supposed to. Well, the age that we're in right now is supposed to be one of.
Is where we're coming. No, I mean, and also the star. Yeah, where we're coming up to. Is that where? Yeah.
It's supposed to be. Right now, we're supposed to be in the age of a great strife, and we're nearing the end of it, and it's supposed to happen this year.
From
coincidentally, X-Force strife.
Whereas I think it's
the age of Kali comes in, and like it's a golden age.
Right. And, it goes from iron to bronze to silver to gold. Is the way, at least in the documentary that I recollect. But right now we're at the very bottom of the iron.
Yeah, the worst of the worst.
The least enlightened, the least of everything. And then,
and you can see that, but like you can
Right.
also see like, you know, the more you talk about this sort of thing, you find that people do know about this, and people find like-minded people, and it's kind of things are evolving. It seems like there's a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
You know, you see a bunch of dummies, but sucking down cheeseburgers and crashing, for burning tires for heat. But it's like,
well, you got to think of the numbers game too.
Donkeys.
Yeah. Running around, cats and dogs.
Mass hysteria.
No, but I mean, you got to think numbers game wise. And I know this stupid nerdy and maybe even backwatery statisticianry, but if that's a word. But like, you're gonna have just fools and just a pool of all this stuff, and you're gonna have people who care. And just like whether or not the subjugation is incidental or intentional, what is worse? And that's where that's when you get into that thing. But you know what I mean? Like, if
who's a bigger fool, the fool or the fool who follows him?
Yeah, and with the case of incidental subjugation or intentional, like, what is worse? In a sense, like, is it because that's just how we're taking things to that level, or do you think it's a concentrated effort?
I think it's a mixture of both. It seems like human nature in general is just we consume. That's kind of what we do. Like, humans just kind of everything
it's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, everything in nature seems to have a unity with it. Like every animal or creature on this planet seems to have some sort of
creatures can
use.
They're pretty consuming too.
They can, but like they'll always come out like there'll be like a counterpoint to it. Like there'll be like a balance. There'll be another animal that comes out and eats that
rabbit
one.
point counterpoint.
I think that you're right in that, but
there's nothing that really keeps us in check. We just kind of spread, and
our mortality keeps us in check.
That is true too. Disease tries to, but we're doing disease. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No. I think you're absolutely right. I think we at one point were very much like nature, where we were in tune with it, probably at the height of the golden age
with the Egyptians and everything.
Even look at the Native Americans. Like, look at how they react in nature.
And they lost, motherfuckers. Yeah.
Have this blanket. Wait a minute.
To be fair, they did, but
now they're freaking popping up casinos and taking their vengeance a couple hundred years later,
which are not regulated, so they can.
Yeah. So, but I think you're absolutely right that I think we once had that symbiotic relationship with nature, but no longer.
What happens? How do you go from being that in tune to the universe to
I think you
going
can,
back?
But also, like, there's a great little videos online, which is little piecemeals for thought. Piecemeals for thought. That's gonna be my new mug.
It's a new nonprofit organization.
Yeah, Meals on Wheels for monster truck rallies. But no, it's like light pollution, and I don't know if you guys know.
Yes, from being able to see things from space.
Yeah, and that's, I think there was a little video about, and a cockroach was talking about it. It was very Wall-E. But no, it's very true. You look, I don't think, we're looking too inward in a way, not in the positive way, in a way where we only see us and we don't see the grand dance that's going on up there. And I do think sometimes we have that maybe we're too immersed in that consumer base, or the just like materialistic base. And there's some good things to that and some bad things to that. And realistically, coming from a humanist perspective, sometimes that spirituality, there's that road, you're like, we got to go here, we got to do this, and it's in tune or in line when we were talking about earlier about being subjugated by religion, or even when we were talking about Chuck Norris, the PG-13. It's in line too. It's very careful, like what for civilization, what is better and what is less violent? Is it the key to be what's less violent, or to be more in tune with? It's just kind of like
there's always seems to be
weird,
like human nature is always there's like
that bloodbath on the cuffs or something.
You'll have you can always have
which
spirituality.
Is that good or bad?
You'll have a group of people designated specifically to spirituality and broadening their enlightenment. But then you'll at the same time at that same spiritual peak, on the other hand, there's like a whole race of people. They're still humans, but like they're warlike, and like it's kind of the way it is right now. You're seeing like a.
It's a little different from what I'm saying, but I understand where.
Yeah, we have look at war and how crazy war is right now, and like you have machines that are just automated for war, and like we're like we're reaching like a peak in war and like our ability to destroy, but at the same time we're also.
I'd say get out of that, and I'll say this. I haven't said it as much as the last podcast on this one, but I would say get out of that kind of trap of we're at the height of war. But I know what you're saying. We're
we have the ability to destroy so much.
At a grander scheme that we know of at this point, without using the power of the sun or something.
There's always it's maybe the balance is more there than we care to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that whole thing during the 80s. We could nuke ourselves over 100 or so times. I mean, you only really need one or two big ones to blot out the sky.
Change the temperature of the planet and nuclear winter. And
yeah.
But like you said in some of your previous podcasts, if you get into that and you start dwelling on that, you're gonna end up being in a basement surrounded by canned goods with a shotgun.
Well,
but then you look outside, and there's fucking birds singing, and there's people having a good time. Like the world isn't all fucking doom and gloom.
And one of the Onion writers, and he talks about how someone's trying to get him out of depression. This Onion writer tried to kill himself. And Onion is a great publication, by the way, and great videos, and this actually, I knew what he was talking about because I had the same conversation with somebody about how, like, the birds are singing. How can you be depressed? Well, the birds aren't singing. It's territorial calls, and they're either looking to fuck or they're looking to claim their land. Yeah. So I mean, I understand and respect the ability to be spiritual, and sometimes that can lead to, fuck you, Blackie, or fuck you, Irishman, or fuck you're a demon, which like Oliver Cromwell fans out there will know, like. All those redheaded buttes.
I think religion and spirituality are two totally different things.
They can be different, yes. Yeah. I'm not going to say they are the same thing.
At least organized religion.
Absolutely.
Like
yeah. And that's, they can house each other, but also, I guess, I'm losing my focus a little bit, but I guess, the deal with, everything has its evil.
Yeah.
And everything has its kind of way of getting there. Like animals, we are animals, and an animal doesn't have to be a negative connotation. It's just classification. Right. Like classification is just like a way of just explaining. Just like the old way the Greeks had the gods and just everything else. We're trying to explain ourselves. We're trying to communicate what we're thinking, what the hell we think is going on through our processing unit, which is our brain or our whatever you want to call it. And
CPU.
Yeah, and that's actually, and the advent of like computer technology has. And because it's like a reflection of us, and when the singularity might happen, whatever.
That's an interesting concept as well.
Well, yeah, that blows your fucking head off.
Like a Borg mentality.
Yeah, the hive mind.
That might be where we're headed.
But that echoes who we are too. Like it echoes like in Japan, like that culture, that automation, like they're automated, and here we might not be as we're kind of more
individuals.
Aggressive, an individual for the sake of losing. The side of the whole, which you can be an individual and still work as a cog, and it's like sometimes that's what you need. Like we need you to browbeat or me to be a jerk, and then together we create whatever we are. Yeah. And if it exists, if it doesn't work, then it won't work. And if you force something to work, then it won't work well.
If you have one person, just kind of you do need those multiple aspects of a conversation or an argument. Yeah, it's just you need that. You have to be able to.
No, you don't. Counterpoint.
Oh, well, that's all I have. So I'm gonna stop.
That's all I do. Yeah, it's like it'll go on.
It just helps you evolve your conversation and your deductive reasoning. It's just you
critical
have to
thinking,
you have to have someone who counters what you're saying, and that's how things are accomplished. It's like, well, this is how we're gonna do it. It's like, well, let's not do it that way because that's dumb. This is probably a better way to do it, and then you just kind of go from there.
And that's the thought police coming to grab us.
It is.
They have alarms.
You can see it like there's, once again, I watch a ton of documentaries, and it runs the gamut.
He's always gloating.
But I watched this one, it's called 2 Weeks in Hell, and it's basically about the Green Beret training and how they do it and all that.
Oh, is that on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
All right,
and it's very interesting when they get to that team mentality, when there's a whole week where they're as individuals, and then there's a whole week where they have to operate as a team. And it's very interesting how some of the teams, like you said, adopt that singularity type, and they're just like, and they succeed. And then when you have all the multiple parts sometimes, like you were saying, where sometimes it helps progress, but the teams with all the multiple facets going on, they fail miserably.
Well, especially with something in a militaristic fashion, because all those that's an alpha mentality.
Right.
And if you have that many alpha mentalities, you're going to get into some dick measure, and it's going to be like, well, fuck you, you know what I mean?
Well, but also it's just like the classification thing. Like alpha, just because he's the leader of the pack doesn't mean that guy down 5 pegs down isn't just as important.
Yep.
Right.
And that's a whole point.
Right.
And just like and it's also an explanation to try to save ourselves. It's like I'm not that good. It's just like so I can feel good about myself for being a fucking loser in so many aspects, but I'm important because I exist here. But it truly is as much as it can be that you're trying to just save yourself from thinking I'm worthless. Which I mean technically. You lose 4 billion of us, you have another 1.5 billion, or like I forget how many. I mean, it's not like it'll be a loss to us, and the world will do whatever. But I mean, it's just like, oh, you got another billion and a half. Like
species will perpetuate.
Yeah, some alien race is like, what? You got another billion and a half? What do you guys care about that? I'm like, well, I know a lot of guys.
Was it like in the Dark Ages, where was it? 2/3 of the populace of Europe
by
was
the plague. Yeah.
Right? So could you imagine that? All of a sudden, it's like, okay, there's 3 of us in this room. 2 of us are gone. Next week you're like, oh,
that's a fucked up time,
God.
dude.
All of a sudden, you don't know how to. Yeah.
Everything like was just lost. Like culture, art. It was like one of the worst periods. Like art started over like completely.
Some of it was. It's weird, and it's a touchy area. It really is. Like
it's deemed the Dark Ages, but there was some serious shit that went down. Like, in that time period that were advances. And
the time period is actually constantly in flux because no one really agrees as much. It'll be like 14th, 15th century.
Oh, the actual time it was at?
Yeah, I mean, there's like, but also
give
like...
or take.
Yeah, exactly. And even after that, the Renaissance is seen as a great thing. You know, there are in many ways, but also it was cultural imperialism too. Mm-hmm. And cultural just theft. Because people would be like, oh, we need to go back to this. And then they'd go back and steal from the Pantheon. Like, all right, let's give me these people would raid... from the Romans and the Greeks.
Well, like we talked about, we keep going back to these topics, but there's a lot I think that has been lost and then is just rediscovered. Yeah. Perfect example, Euler's law, mathematical principle that was quote unquote discovered by the mathematician Euler. Well, the pyramids of Giza use Euler's law in the building of it. So it's like, well, you didn't really invent it, you obviously rediscovered it, because it's always been there. But Euler gets the credit when, in fact, you see it in Egyptian architecture and I think even Mayan architecture.
Oh, wow. So which is all eerily similar to it.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's all rediscovered. Even computers and things like that. I think at some point there was some.
It seems to be what happens. Like we seem to go through like an age where like we'll come to like a height and then a decline, and then it just rebuilds itself. So it's like it's from what I heard. I can't remember who said it exactly, but. They were looking into our history, and it was like they said that we'd gone through at least half a dozen, civilization peaks, and then complete wipeouts. Yeah, like half a dozen throughout like between 20 and 40,000 years. Mm-hmm. Well, it'll just mysteriously disappear, and then the same things get discovered. Yeah,
die-offs. I mean, we're due for a die-off.
Oh yeah,
we're due for a massive one.
Yeah, which is. A little crazy. It's a little nuts.
Well, yeah. I mean, and like we talked about, I don't know if we brought it in the beginning of the show or if we were just when we were talking. I'm sorry, like it all kind of phases into one for me. But no, we have these great conversations, tooting the horn, and but it's all about time perspective, like on the like how we're like talking about these ages, like we're spec, right there,
absolutely.
The universal kind of mindset of time. Which
wind.
Dust, wind, dude.
Which, and also you'll bring another kind of cultural fun reference from Revenge of the Nerds, the original one. Which, sidebar, they were going to do a remake, and they were doing a remake.
Thank God they did, by the way.
Well, they did, but it just got destroyed because they saw the days like, we don't like this. And it was by that new kind of, we're for the hip kids, Fox Atomic Pictures. And this was when I was in LA in 2006 and 2007. And it just kind of failed because it was a nerd chic time, and still kind of is, but that was like where they felt they could monetize it the best.
Right.
And they didn't make it work, and I guess everything looked shitty. Yeah. And that's when sometimes things fail because they're just, everyone like can't put enough of a face like, well, we could, fuck it. No, it's just that bad. Yeah. But in the original Revenge of the Nerds, Poindexter, I think, who's played by Timothy Busfield, who does a whole bunch of other stuff. The redheaded dude who plays the violin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's on like 1,000 prescriptions. Smokes the mega joint.
Yeah, no, exactly. Awesome. He's getting high as a kite during when the Mega Moos come over for their initiation party. And he's talking and looking into his joint and talking to this other girl about like, would you rather be in the ascension of a society or the declination?
Yeah.
Or the decline? Question. Oh, it's an amazing question. But then it totally diffuses the situation perfectly, comedically, when the girl just goes to rub his dick and goes, don't you just want to fuck? It's perfect. But it's an awesome question because that nerd is right.
It seems like we're
an awesome high question.
We're right in the middle of it. Like we're right in the middle of like complete and utter just crash of everything.
We're at the bottom of the parabolic curve,
and it's just going to go back.
The Time Wave by Terrence McKenna.
Terrence McKenna.
He's pretty funny and wacky. But they were.
He had a lot of interesting theories.
Yeah, they're kind of all full of shit, but they're fun to talk about. I mean, they're like just like how we discuss. It's just kind of like it's fun. I would say it's a little better and more fruitful than how many angels can dance on the top of a headpin. But I mean, I think sometimes these questions are important just to figure out what the fuck you're doing. Yeah. And sometimes it'll fuck your head. Yeah. Because I gotta remember I gotta take out the trash on Thursday.
Right. Exactly. That's the thing. I mean? It's like all the things that we have to do.
Well, McKenna, look them up. Yeah.
Like there's so many like exactly like you just said. It's like you can sit here and philosophize all you want, and it's like, oh, I gotta go take a piss.
Yeah. Well, your body will tell you that. My body won't tell me. I will be right back. Go for it.
Well, like you mentioned, like you some bodies will say, and some people will obviously, be so engrossed with their ideas that they let that wayside stuff or that stuff that keeps us going go by the wayside. And I think that you see that in a lot of genius types where they forget to sleep and they forget to shower and they forget to eat because their brain is just working at such a level that I could never comprehend because they're just thinking so far beyond.
Well, and then they see things as insignificant.
Right,
and
exactly.
That's where things, and I had a buddy who I'm no longer really a buddy with now who, and a whole bunch of other people I know who just like they'll put themselves on that pedestal in a way, but also, and there's some people who are nicer about it who just, they realize, and I think we have this degree of intelligence, I think everyone does, they have to compartmentalize their life. And it just kind of, like you have to say, oh yeah, I can do that, like taking out the trash, or I can do that then, do that now, like I can think about this or worry about that. Like if you have a kid, I forget, you don't have a kid.
Don't have children.
Did you ever plan? I know this is a weird question, but do you ever plan?
Yeah, we intend to.
Well, I mean, that's the weird thing, and this is actually, sorry to fucking bore and or cripple the argument, possibly cripple the argument by citing Malcolm in the Middle, but there was a great. And like, yeah, do these have any real daggers? No, but it's just like these fun, thought-filled, insightful arguments.
Right.
The mother is questioned by one of the teachers of Malcolm because he's obviously a gifted student, and some of the brothers aren't.
Yeah.
And the teacher's like, well, you're not really helping him out. Like he needs this, that, or that. And she's like, look, lady, I can send him down the river anytime I want because I know he'll come out fine.
Yeah.
And then I have to worry about these guys a little more.
Right.
And you got to pick and choose. And that's.
It's like you allocate your resources. You only
exactly.
It's just like running an army. You only have so many troops. How many fronts do you want to fight?
Yep.
And speaking of Malcolm in the Middle, I know this is completely off topic.
Yeah, whatever.
Breaking Bad, the dad from Malcolm. I don't even know his name as an actor.
Bryan Cranston. That
is the fucking best show I've seen in a long time.
That's what everyone tells me. All my friends, all my acting buddies tell me I should watch it because he's amazing in it. I haven't seen it.
Incredible in that. Like, just the level of, like, for him to go from that, like, goofy dad and Malcolm in the Middle to this almost psychotic just nerd. I don't know how else to describe him. He's a chemistry teacher. But he discovers, I won't ruin it for everybody, but he discovers he's really, really good at being a criminal. Yeah. Really, really good at it. And it's just a great, great show. So, highly recommend it if anybody's out there.
Yeah,
to watch something great.
You're not the first. And hopefully, it's one of those things where, again, in the realms of TV shows that people love, it's one of those things like allocating time. It's like, I know I'll get involved. And maybe that's the thing with me and in our kind of first world attitude, but... I don't know. Do you have time to watch all this stuff and enjoy all the stuff that's at our fingertips? That we talk about the ascension of civilization. Like, is the ascension of civilization being able to sit back like a potato and watch a lot of stuff?
Well, that's I think
or make it. Or, I don't know.
I know what you're saying. Like, I kind of fell off the boat as far as, like, I know I said it. I haven't watched TV in like an hour, like a year and a half, and I mean that like literally as in like I don't really watch anything. Like, I don't. I haven't Netflix and all that stuff. I canceled my Netflix. I haven't been. I haven't been paying attention to things like TV and stuff. I just don't care. I'm more interested in.
Oh, okay, you're cool. Is what you're saying.
Well, I'm more interested in the stuff we're talking about. Like
when you said what you said, I just don't pay attention, or that's what you said.
Well, as far as TV shows and stuff like that go, I feel like I've seen so much.
He flipped his collar when he said that. He had a leather jacket on. He flipped his collar and put on his shades. I don't know. Just letting you know.
Jukebox. And it came on.
He jumped the shark. Go ahead, yeah.
But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. It's like it's filling your time with things that you feel are important and they're going to benefit you.
And what does benefit me?
I don't know, but watching 30 Rock for me just doesn't. I don't see the.
It can be, it's like amusing. But I mean, like, it can help me, like, if I mean, I'm in that medium, I guess, but I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's one of those things where I enjoy watching stuff with my wife and hanging out, but I would rather go outside and, like, hang out. We have done stuff like that. Jesus, like defense. Like, we've gone outside. We've done stuff. No, but it's tough. Sometimes you'll go to work. And I'll make this argument, not necessarily, I mean, part explanation, but part defense. Well, like, yeah, some people don't have the luxury of being like, well, let's think about this. Let's philosophize. And it's like, no, they're worried about coming from job 2 or job 3.
Yeah.
And making it work. And
what are you talking about?
Just general, like, the benefits. Oh, thanks for joining us.
Oh, sorry, I had to leave myself.
Yeah, everyone, I guess it'll be my turn to go to the bathroom. But,
everyone's taking piss breaks.
Yeah. We just carry a bucket and just...
But the show must go on, like Freddie Mercury says.
Yeah, and then...
Who's also, I never knew, was Indian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
weird.
From India, not Indian, like...
Yeah, not Indian. Yeah. Or Indiana and Indian. And he also likes shaved boys, but it's a whole nother conjecture. No, that's... No, we're just chatting about the benefit of, just what is the benefit of just, like, finding your time to just watch a show or just, do whatever fits you.
In the long run, you can kind of look at it as, like, any information or knowledge you attain is fruitless anyway. It doesn't really matter because you're going to expire. But who's to say, sitting around watching Beavis and Butthead is less... gives you less credibility than sitting around philosophizing all day.
Oh, they have a philosophy. They definitely... Mike Judge... clings to, but where do you go from there?
Well, I think everything has value in some sense, like, because let's face it, like, entertainment, Beavis and Butthead, like, if it makes you laugh, I think it's valuable because science is discovering now that laughter is one of the best medicines. I mean, it relieves blood pressure, so it's like, you say it's wasted time, but is it really? Because, like, look at some of the jokes we throw out at each other. Like, they're based on movies that we've all seen. Revenge of the Nerds, The Simpsons. So it's like, to me, I don't think anything really is a complete waste of time.
Well, and actually, you bring up a good point. Like, that brings along the same lines of, like, it's also some group of people who's attempt at communicating with you. Right. Whether you feel it's genuine or not, because they have to sell. I mean, it's based their whole canvas is selling a product. Pretty much, that's how television works. Yeah. Not to say that's mind-blowing to anybody, but no, that's how television, the inception of television was to put programming on programming. And then Douglas Rushkoff, who I plugged the last couple of times, talks about you program yourself when you watch TV. How am I going to be programmed today is a phrase he would use. Mm-hmm. And it's true. I mean, but it's also, I mean, if you get, you know what, it's true. Laughter, piss yourself laughing, or you just get high with your friends, or just drink with your friends and just have a good time. Yeah. It's all about just, you expire, but that's the whole thing we deal with, the mortality. And I think that's kind of like the grand theme when we come down to these talks or arguments about, do I care about fucking Jamba Juice, or do I give a shit about Snooki? Or you care enough about, what you aren't or what you aspire not to be, or maybe like it makes you laugh or something like that, it gets you closer to someone else. Maybe not that thing, but it's how you use that as just like social media as a tool to kind of interact with someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's also a time. I think the human mind is very computer-like in its ways, and I think that at times the mind really needs that almost like defragging, where it's just kind of like you space out. I think sleep initially is the ultimate type of defragging.
And I think that's your body's like your default system too. Like your body needs sleep. Like it's like a guaranteed way that your body.
Fuck you guys. Gonna wait 2 weeks. See you in hell.
You're all stressed out.
It's like you're chewing on your hand.
But like if you don't give yourself that time to like decompress. Your head's gonna explode. Literally, you're gonna get the bends, and it's gonna be all over for you. So it's very. I feel it's very important. Just
what a fragile little system it is. It's so bizarre. It's so complicated and fragile.
You're so in love with your body. Why would you marry it?
What if I could? Oh yeah.
Do you ever hear like the mathematics behind the human body, like with the where you take the radius and divide it by the ulna and it equals pi? And like you take the femur and divide it by the tibia and it equals pi. Like don't quote me on this. But,
we just did.
But what I'm saying is
you're quoting yourself.
There's serious mathematics behind the human body that equal like significant numbers, pi and phi and like.
We're genetically engineered by reptilian spacemen.
You heard it here first.
Talk.
So there's some really crazy, and I guess that could lead even into intelligent design, which I know is a big buzzword right now, and people are like trying.
It's been a buzzword for a while.
Yeah, it has, but there's like a whole big movement. I think there's a movement. There's a documentary by Ben Stein.
Oh yes.
Yeah, where he talks about how everybody's like, no, intelligent design, that's BS, and he's like, why are we stifling this type of information?
I think like no one wants to admit that science and spirituality are probably more in sync than anyone realizes.
Well,
I think it's the same thing. I think
it's explanation for the other. It's like Reed Richards and Doctor Strange.
Why can't you just accept the fact that possibly God and science coexist? Like maybe why is that so hard to fathom?
Or whatever. I mean, I'm
just giving it that term. You know what I mean?
You're more of a God guy.
Yeah,
God gab.
Not the guy with
John
the beard
Karen.
and fucking
I would love that somewhere. No, but I more to the point of the body being that symmetrical or shaped the way it is.
Right.
Well, yeah, our cells have had billions of years to catch up to construct. Yeah. And it's like whatever you want to call it. I mean, sure, but people, I think it's the hubris of intelligent design that kills it. The hubris of it being like, it's the touch of an angel. And just like the finger point of like
a guy with white hair
being.
in a big celestial kitchen,
exactly.
just mixing up like atoms. Oh, here we go. Put it in the oven. It's a
little
person.
mayo for taste.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, sure, intelligent design. Yeah, that's a cute phrase for saying, we're a machine that's built based on the fact that we're on a cooling planet that's rotating at or wobbling at a certain amount of speed because we can't because we can't go to a different frame because it's impossible from what we're given. We're built out of it. We're not built for it.
Yeah.
And like I think that's the hubris there once again. And just to reiterate, it's just like I understand what you're saying.
I heard the best thing that Louis C.K. special, the one I was talking about earlier. No. He makes one of the best points I've ever heard. He was talking about like just
I'm flabbergasted.
The planet and people. And he's just like
the magazine.
He's like, you talk about God, the People magazine, obviously. But he was just talking about like God and people and the planet, and he's just like, we're not from here. He's like, you ever just stop to think that we're not from here?
We're from stars, yeah.
Where everything that we need to survive is here. Like, and before we fucking ruined everything and industrialized everything, you could just eat what was on the ground. It's like you just eat this and there you go. You just go drink that and there you go. You're fine. That's all you need. But it's not good enough for us because we like bacon and it doesn't have enough crispiness to it. And it's like it was just an awesome way. Like I love how he just simplifies the stupidity of things and just like the grander scheme and such a. You don't kind of look at it. You just wait a minute.
You could
that makes sense.
But you can also say it's part of the elegance of what we've done. I mean, you could say like civility itself, like the whole Lawrence of Arabia. Great example. My dad would talk to me about this all the time, like the part where Laurence Olivier would go in with into a tent and talk to his either commanding officer or whatever. I don't know the full scene, and it'd just be all this carnage was happening outside, but inside this tent, people were having their tea, their coffee, and just like civility was a huge thing in the Renaissance. To make someone civilized or to create a civilized nation, you have to act barbaric. To make them civilized, you have to fight barbarism with barbarism, and it's just kind of like that's part of the way of like we slaughter pigs to enjoy almost justly and all civilized like that slab of bacon,
right?
And it's just kind of there's a brilliant elegance to it, but there's also
brutality behind
the brutality and savagery of it.
Well, it's like kind of like if you're, say you are a civilized. Look at what happened to so many civilized cultures. Like you're just a civilized culture. Say you're an Indian, for an example, who really weren't 100% civilized. They were warring tribes, but you're moderately civilized.
Some Indians were taught how to scalp from the French. That's just throwing that out there.
Yeah, you're a moderately civilized nation, and then a bunch of fucking Vikings rolls through and just killing and raping and salting the earth, and
that might be
it's like
a misnomer for Vikings. Some say they weren't as vicious,
right? I've heard
but their munging
well.
was top notch.
What?
Their munging. Has anyone heard munging? No. Is this an opportunity to show MUNG? Mung to mung. No, really?
No, I mean, I've used the term, but I don't really. Yeah.
Well, then smite you down right now because we're going to show you what you've been telling people. Well, I'm not going to show. I'm not going to do it. I can't. I'd need a corpse. See, munging, my friends, is when a fresh kill is killed, and then you pretty much fuck the guts. That's up to your nuts and guts.
Makes sense.
Wow.
This has been Phil. Go ahead, Viking chat.
Wow.
Well, yeah, isn't that's pretty hardcore and ridiculously infuriating.
Yeah. Vikings were definitely good at warfare.
I think it was
with their boats and everything.
An interesting counterpoint to that sort of like straight. You even have
but that was a portion. I don't know how much of that was like
being straight.
So much of a common practice.
Right. Exactly.
Like all of Viking lore.
But being a complete war-based society or a completely peaceful society, like you have to find a good balance. And I think we talked about the Japanese before, and I always thought that the reason I respect the Japanese culture so much, is because it seemed to be like a perfect balance between the two. It was like a society who was trained in war and always ready for it, but they were very civil and spiritual, and everything they did was based on beauty and efficiency. And it was an amazing. It was amazing.
Hating
way
the
to
Chinese. No, I mean, I know what you're saying. You're going. Sometimes we get to this point where you get too emphatic and like really romantic about it. It's not a bad thing per se, but sometimes you lose the shades of gray.
Well, absolutely, I understand what you're saying, but
I know
it's nice to be able to find that balance where it's like you're not actively seeking war or conflict, but you're always ready for it and prepared for it. So you're exercising both aspects of a civilized society. I think Jarrett is looking out.
Yeah,
it's shoveling over there.
I agree. It's definitely an interesting society with some strange and different, culture anomalies, I guess you would call it. But it's definitely, like you said, I remember going over there and there was this very large ceremony that we stumbled upon, just, touring the city. And it was just this, I don't know what you want to call him, but he looked like a religious leader, had a very large, like almost like Pope-like hat, and he was just surrounded by all these flowers. I was like, what's going on? And my uncle, he lives over there, is basically... He explained to me that this was like a flower ceremony, and what they do is it's kind of like an Earth Day. Basically what they do is they give flowers in thanks, I guess, to the planet. I don't know, it's kind of odd that they do it that way.
Very Final Fantasy, yep.
Yeah, but they'll say like, thank you Mother Earth kind of thing for, providing food and water. And even like there's a prayer that they do before they eat, which basically says, especially like if they're eating meat, they thank the animal for giving its life to sustain.
India, they do that in India too.
Which kind of like was shocking. I was like, but you don't really... You see that, I guess you see that when people say grace, they thank God for the animal. But what was different is they thank the individual, the animal itself, as opposed to like some higher power.
In India, they do that as well. They'll all bathe, and it's weird how they'll all just like bathe and drink from the same area, and there'll be like a cow in it, and they'll be worshiping the cow and thanking the cow for all the nutrients it's giving it, and at the same time they're worshiping the sun and thanking the sun for it just seems like so many other ancient cultures have a better grasp on.
Well, it just replaced that with Christ or in some sort of America. I will say that I'm convinced America's pretty much Judeo-Christian. I mean, that's pretty much what their moniker.
It's a very large percentage.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way. I mean, that's a better, as the best, more accurate. Like its moniker, it prefers, I think, on a.
God we trust, baby.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, and that didn't used
to be there
until the 50s.
Anyway, 1956.
But no, I agree. But I mean, just replace it with that. But they follow that. There's a great book called Blood Rights by I forget Karen something. I forget his last name, but talks about how blood was very important, and still kind of is in all these cultures. It all kind of comes back from the blood of everyone has power, or blood of all these things have power, or just like yeah, I mean, and it goes the blood of Christ or whatever when people go up to get the sacrament or whatever, or pretty much cannibalize them. Everyone knows that, right? You're eating body and
the body of Christ.
Yeah,
the Jesus.
The Jesus. I'd never tried, but I went to Catholic high school and
it's not enough nacho cheese flavoring in it for me.
Yeah, it's strangely like a ranch Dorito. It's not bad. It's awesome. Tangy.
They're like, oh, we're out of Jesus. Go get the Triscuits out back.
Yeah, I'll bless them or something. No, but that's I don't know. It's very bizarre. Yeah, because I would love to do that. There should be a sketch we do about that when we go to McDonald's. And just bless every Big Mac, or just like, can I have a big size bless? Just kind of like do something like that. Well, no, it's true. It's like when things are excessive, they're excessive. Yeah. When people are proud, and honor is the one thing. I was thinking about this last couple of weeks. I'm just having this like, am I honorable in my life? And this is where Phil breaks down on the podcast.
That's one of the most important parts of being a person.
Well,
I think.
If you don't have honor, what do you have?
Yeah, I think honor is one of the most important things you can carry as a person.
Yeah, because, and you know what? I actually made this. I don't know. I've hypothesized this in my own mind that in today or in this capitalist society we live in, people are almost making it. This is my feeling. Just my feeling.
Disclaimer.
There's
not
a
the podcast.
correlation between credit rating is the modern day honor, I think, in this world.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a good, and I have shitty credit. So,
but what it is,
yeah.
But people
So
look at credit
depressed.
rating as your ability to be trusted.
No, it's
you know,
true.
which
No,
is,
exactly. That's
to me is
very
a bit fucked up. You know, because what if people fell on hard times? Does it mean you're a shitty person without honor? No.
That's a good point. But I do think sometimes it can show an accurate way of just like, does this person know back to the fucking LARPing or like buying $200 moccasins? Like that guy might not necessarily be a bad person,
right?
But truly, is he fully aware of what he needs to do to survive with a kid
and uphold his honor?
Yeah. Yes, and I think that's an amazing wow. And that makes me want to go pay a bill. but that's kind of like, but also too, and I think, like in the same vein, like capitalistic society, go out there. I mean, it isn't necessarily promoted to pay bills.
Right.
It's promoted to.
Capitalism's a beautiful. I think it's a beautiful idea. I don't think the idea of capitalism is in itself inherently a bad thing.
It's nurtured by the greed of man. In greed of man, you could make an argument as good or bad.
I wouldn't. You could say greed, but at the same time, or innovation of man. Because
I mean,
it encourages innovation, it encourages creativity, and it rewards creativity.
They can be agreed for entertainment.
They're absolutely. That's the bad part.
But I agree. Once again, connotation of like words like, or classification of words like we were talking about earlier, like animal, and greed is the same kind of thing. Like things like tangential, like we do fucking every 5 seconds, bad connotation. But no, I mean just. Greed can be good, greed can be bad. Yeah. And in this case, like greed for innovation. Yeah, and I do agree with you, like to make something better, quicker, faster, as long as it doesn't like
hurt
isn't
people.
Shit. Yes, yeah. As Dale the Funky Homo Sapien would say. Plug out for him. I think he has a new album coming out. I'm not sure. But you were saying, I'm sorry to greedily take the spotlight.
Oh no, that's really just. I mean, I've gotten into a few arguments lately with people who are just. One of those, some of the doom and gloomers, just kind of like capitalism's fucking ruined everything. It's just I hate my life. I fucking hate this. I can't do this.
Is it the same guy who actually doesn't like go out and make money for himself?
I think it's yes. We're talking about the same person. I'm not going to mention. But.
Which is, I mean, that's a shitty thing kind of say. But no, I mean, like no, I mean you can work at a shit job and it sucks. It sucks. Fucking donkey balls like rotted in a fucking.
You can't sit here and harvest this contempt for the world and the system that it runs on based on your inability to succeed or take control of your own situation and make an effort to better yourself.
Sometimes it is out of your hand, though. I will say that.
It absolutely is. Sometimes just luck doesn't seem to want to smile upon you.
But you can keep pushing.
That's exactly it. You pick your fucking head up and you get back up and you try.
A great example. My wife, she's like one of 7 kids or 8 kids.
Oh yes, I did see.
And I won't even really get into it, but like she encountered such difficulty growing up, but she overcame it just through persistence.
Absolutely.
Like just busting her ass, going to school, like taking like I think her last semester at UMass Amherst, she took biochem and organic chem simultaneously, 6 classes, commuting an hour and a half from Hartford, Connecticut to UMass Amherst.
Because she wants to,
and she had the drive to do so.
Absolutely.
There are people that I don't want to really say this, but there are people that are like, they might be even wheelchair bound, and they still get up every day and they bust their ass.
Not if I push them over.
But then there's
every day.
High five.
And then there's those that they're content and they sit in their parents' basement and they get their hot pockets served to them while they play 50 hours of World of Warcraft.
That's
straight.
pretty.
And I love World of Warcraft. Don't get me wrong. I love World of Warcraft. But I'm just saying that it's what you put into it.
Absolutely.
If you want to be a sloth, then don't complain.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yep.
You're gonna drive the Hyundai with no hubcaps.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's gonna boil down
That's
to.
kind of.
Hey, I drove a Hyundai, so hey.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do
with missing hubcaps.
It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with wanting to better yourself for materialistic purposes either.
Right.
It's the desire or the passion to want to succeed or strive to see what you yourself are capable of.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but sometimes that's a bullshit. Drive is a good and bullshitty thing too. And I will say, like, I mean, I have a drive for certain things, and I could do it. And who's to say, like, if you work hard, you won't get it? And you could work your hard all your life, and you're not get it.
Yeah.
But you will. I mean, some would say, but you'd have that honor to say I worked hard. But
Yeah.
but then
I gave it my all.
Yeah, and some would say, well, what the fuck does that get me? And I'm not gonna fault them for saying I don't know. Not to say you shouldn't have tried, but it's just a matter of like we also have to take into account, and not to say we're not, but always kind of echoing that sentiment of not necessarily devil's advocate, but just every side of whatever we can. Yeah, some people just get fucked by the universal dick.
No, that's true. Yeah,
or vagina.
That is absolutely true as well.
What gender you want to go
But
for
at the same time, you keep trying. You don't let it beat you down.
Yeah,
that's
but
the thing.
isn't the measure or definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over, hoping
That
for
is
different
actually,
results?
But at the same time, you don't have to do the same thing over and over to get the
That's
same.
a good point.
You could
yeah.
certainly try alternate measures, and and I think reality is perception. Like if you're one of those ones that, oh, my life sucks and I can't fucking do anything, obviously you're going to continue to fail because you have this negative perception going on.
Yeah.
If you start to, I'm a firm believer, you maintain a positive outlook, fucking good shit comes your way.
Yeah,
It really does. Like, but then you see those people that are just Debbie Downer, negative Nancy's, and you're like, man, like you don't even want to be around them. Like they have like a black aura around them, and I don't even want to be near them because it's just like you bring me down. You know?
I mean, there's a difference between being constructive and being critical,
right?
Or critical thinker, and like you said, just kind of just fucking. Taking a massive dump over everything, and it just kind of, and I know I don't, it's like the weird. I don't want to be caught in these kind of spectrum arguments about like up with everything or down with everything. But it is true. It's like that weird middle ground, or just a weird like you go every day.
Humility is what keeps it in the middle. It's what keeps you balanced. Is humility.
I think it's an important thing to be humble and realize that you get the shit kicked out of you. Metaphysically or just kind of financially, spiritually, any moment, and romantically, whatever.
I had this might sound kind of weird, and like I try to maintain a semblance of, or I try to be.
Aren't we great people? Aren't we great people?
We're so awesome.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with a buddy of mine the other day, and he was telling me an older friend of ours had said something about like all the stuff I've been doing lately, and
like
how
raccoon fucking.
Yeah. Lots of bestiality. But
not enough, in my opinion.
He was kind of like proud of like all the stuff I've accomplished lately and the things that I've achieved. And it's like hearing that from like an outside source is always weird because you don't really take it into consideration. It's like as far as I'm concerned, it's like I'm just doing what I feel like I have to do, and I don't think about it as being anything. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not successful. I'm not anything. I'm just doing what I love to do, and that's all it is. It's like it's like look at my fucking. You want to pay my student loans? How fucking successful am I? You want to pay my bills, asshole? Like, I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, but it's like at the same time, it's like you're just trying to do what you want to do, and if you're happy doing what you want to do, and if you love doing what you want to do, and then it makes your life better. Your quality of life is better. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with monetary gain or status or anything, because who cares about that?
Well, I mean, sometimes you need money to live.
You absolutely do.
But I do agree. Like, do something try to find something you care for first.
Yeah.
And then that'll fall. Like things will fall into place.
And like-minded people will, come into your circle, and then it just makes things even better.
But you neglected to say that your old friend is a carrot. Like he's
to say it's a real person per se isn't correct.
This is true. He's been on life support for 2 years, and he's been hooked up to a walnut tree. But no, that's pretty cool to hear from some. Not as much as we tell each other.
Yeah, like
just kind of run up. But
you do the same thing because I can turn this right back around.
What do I do? I don't fuck raccoons anymore.
Well, not anymore. Not today, anyway.
I'm not nocturnal.
But you're very humble about the projects you do because I'll sit there. I'll be the first one to blow up your spot about what you do.
I'm doing a lot. I'm really not. I'm not doing as much as I could, and that's the thing. I mean, I think part of it. Sometimes I think some people have their realistic outlooks for yourself and realistic outlooks for what you can do. And sometimes you hold yourself to a standard you can't uphold, and that's just as bad as being, that's just as bad as not doing anything.
Yeah.
In some cases, and that's what I do to myself. I totally fucking hurt myself. But it also comes back down when I'll get lazy again. You know what I mean? It was just like, I can't do all of it.
Being an artistic nature itself, that kind of happens.
You need to be inspired in some cases. I think so. But
artist block.
Yeah, I think it's a bullshit for me. No, but also another Louis C.K. thing that he said. But I also agree with it too. You just have to work. You have to sit there and work.
Yeah, you do have to train yourself.
You have to do it. You have to discipline yourself just to be that person. Just got 3 or 4 hours today. Do this, that, and that's how you do it. Even if you have a block, you got to work through it.
Absolutely.
And that's speaking of working through it. I think we had a good podcast today.
Shit, is it that time?
Yeah, it's been about 2 hours. Yeah,
it's so fast.
No, it doesn't feel like it at all. I think the wife's hollering at me because I think she's stuck in a snowstorm. But I'll get to her. She's in wolf country. Whatever. But yeah, John, a good talk. Thank you again to our guests.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Anything you'd like to plug? I know we weirdly asked you, like,
No, I don't really have anything to plug, but I'd like to say both what you guys are doing some great stuff. Keep it going. I love and I enjoy listening to the podcast. And I think, John, you do great work, so keep it up.
Damn.
Oh, shit.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you again. And we got to do our usual plugs before we sign off.
As usual, check out mynameisjonahfilm.com. We got it's the documentary between I Hunger Productions, JB Inks, and Asylum Studios. It's going to be pretty awesome, to say the least.
And check out, JB Inks stuff online.
Yep.
He has a couple music videos, one for Lex.
Yep. Oh, yeah, Lex is, the
Lex music video is
awesome.
coming out. And he has a couple other ones from him, but Horror Movie a Day.
Horror Movie a Day.
Brian Collins, film historian. And he writes for BloodyDisgusting.com, is that?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, excuse me. And a bunch of, you can find him on Brian W. Collins on Twitter.
Yep.
And you can check out our
podcast. I'm going to try to get the podcast. I'm going to try to get a Facebook fan page up for you guys and a way to see, maybe get them on iTunes so, like we said, you can download them.
Oh, and LonelyReviewer.com. That's Vache Arabian and a whole bunch of other people who write reviews about movies and other stuff. And you can actually submit to it. It's like a user supplied. So if you ever want to do it, sign up. It's LonelyReviewer.com. And there's SameNightMovieReview.com. It's they do a podcast and video simulcast on Tuesday nights at around 8 o'clock, I believe. And they're in New York, so they got a bunch of cool guests and people coming in. They had Court Dunn, an old friend of mine who does a lot of music videos in New York. He's a fucking machine. He just fucking pumps them out, and it's really cool. I think he's worked with J Live a couple of times and some other. It's pretty awesome. Like, it's just weird. You go to school with people, and they've just been doing all this great stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, check all of them out on SameNightMovieReview.com. It's SMNR, I think, .com, and they have a Facebook page.
And I'll try to plug my website. Why not? AsylumStudios.biz. You can check out my portfolio works and keep up on all that. And Phil, I know you don't really have a website yet, but I'm going to tell you, if you check out the podcast, it's Phil's
some videos on it.
Yeah, I Hunger's production company. So check out the videos.
Yeah, and Comically Speaking on Facebook. Comically Speaking is a comic book shop in North Reading, which is really awesome. It's a pretty fantastic comic book shop and like all-purpose like nerd shop. So I'd recommend going there, checking out their Facebook page because I run it and I post a bunch of weird stuff on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I do think as much as we allocate like 5 minutes of plugging stuff, I think one episode we should just start like 20 minutes just naming companies, how much we love them, see how much we get sued, or like people come to us like, please don't fucking use our name or bleep them out. I do want to try that as kind of like a comedic like thing. I want to do more stuff like that. I fancy myself somewhat of a comedian, but
yeah, it would be nice to get into some more lighthearted stuff occasionally.
Well, I mean, we get lighthearted. I mean, comedy doesn't have to be all about the laughs. That's what. Whoa! That's my colon saying no way. All right, guys, thank you for listening in. Thank you again, Jarrett.
Yeah,
and,
thanks,
good luck back in New York. Have a good trip.
I'm gonna kick a baby tonight for making me sick.
I almost drop kicked one in Vegas. That's what my brother-in-law would say. I was saying. Whatever. It's not important. Not important. I had the spins. All right, guys, take it easy. See you next time.
Later.
Poop them if you got them.
But hey, don't get me wrong, I swear to God I wrote all of these songs. It's not like I had a choice. Plus I hate the sound